Hello and welcome back to Trails Through Trails, the podcast about trails that we play every week, chapter by chapter, game by game. Why do I sound like I'm about to collapse?
Not every week, but we did for a bit.
My name is Matt. I use he, him pronouns.
And I'm Lex. I use she, her pronouns.
And this week we are here to play the first half of chapter 6 of Trails in the Sky, the third, and also Star Doors 8 and 9, and our last Moon Door, Moon Door 5.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're done with Moon Doors.
Yeah.
And I thought that meant we would have no more long doors, but then one of those star doors was the longest thing that ever happened in my entire life. Oh my god.
I'm so obsessed with it. I love it so much, but it is long.
It ended like 6 times before it actually ended. It kept fading to black and I was like, oh, we're done. Nope. But we'll get to that later in the episode.
We'll get there.
For now, Lex, how are you? How you doing?
Ooh, I've had a crazy week, because I started a new job and stuff, so I don't have that much to report on. The only thing, because between a job and I have this certification test I'm about to write, so I've been studying, so the only thing I've really had time to do outside of that is hockey playoff stuff. But after last time I talked about a sports team that was doing well that I loved on this show, and they immediately lost terribly tragically, I don't want to, I will report to you guys once the season's over for us, perhaps, but I'm not jinxing it. I'm not talking about it beyond that. So that's what's going on. What about you?
Well, for now on that topic, we'll just say,
Hooray, sports!
Yay, sports.
and I'm so glad that I have that soundbite saved and pre-prepped so that I can just drop it into any episode. For me, pretty chill over here too. For some reason, today, on recording day, I woke up at 5 a.m. That was fun. So, for once, I actually went to the gym before going to do podcast stuff. So, dear listener, if I sound really strong tonight, that's why. Other than that, I have been ingesting media. Shocker, I know.
Mm-hmm.
I watched all of the new season of Devil May Cry, the Netflix series, which
Alright.
I really like, and other people seem to hate, but I don't know why. It's obviously not faithful to the game storylines, but I've never finished a Devil May Cry other than the DMC reboot that everyone hated, so I don't care. I thought it was great. It's fun. The music is sick. It's like the music of our youth. There was an Evanescence song in the soundtrack this season.
Oh, that's so fun.
It fucking rocks. It's also animated by, I believe, Studio Mia, who do a lot of the cool, like, intro videos for JRPGs.
Yeah.
I think they've done 1 or 2 Trails ones, even.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
I know they've done some of the intros for the Tales of games, which I also play, so I might just getting my wires crossed. But, yeah, it's a 6 series. Check it out. Other than that, I've been playing 2 things this week besides Trails. The first, I played start to finish South of Midnight, which is originally an Xbox exclusive, but then got ported to PlayStation more recently. It's about a young girl, Hazel Flood, in like the South of America, who becomes a weaver, a person who sort of repairs the tapestry of the world from people's trauma and stuff like that. It also had that really cool, like, staggered animation style where it's designed to look sort of low frame rate, so it's more animation-y, which looks great. I did turn it off for the gameplay because it made me a little bit off-put after a while, but they still do it in the cutscenes, so you still get the effect of it. Very good game, and I just enjoyed exploring it. More importantly, I played through the entire The Adventures of Elliot demo.
Oh, yeah, I downloaded it, but I haven't had time to play because I can't let myself play games until I'm done this test because I get too stressed. Tell me about it.
It's so good. So this is the second demo they've done for it. They had like an initial demo, which was a vertical slice, just a specifically created mini scenario so you could test out the game.
After the Switch Direct, the Nintendo Direct announcement of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. They did it with like Bravely Default as well. It was basically a way for them to like get it out into the world, have people playtest it basically, and then they do like surveys to find out what people liked or didn't like.
Triangle Strategy 2 they did that with, I think.
Yeah, they've done it for a handful now. So for Elliot, they just released the prologue demo, which is like the demo that will let you play through the entire prologue, feeding into chapter 1 of the game, and then transfer that onto the main game when it releases next month.
Mm-hmm.
I love prologue demos. They are the best kind of demo.
They're great.
The changes they've made are great. It's like Zelda-like HD, 2D, 3D thing. It looks beautiful. It plays great. I love the voice acting in it, which normally I kind of bounce off Square Enix's voice acting in these pixel games. But they feel like real people. And
nice.
That's a good thing. Also, they have really beautiful illustrated like portrait art with animation, like mouth flaps and stuff.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah, so I played through that. It's a meaty demo as well. It's not as meaty as the Sky prologue demo, because what is? But I think it was about 3.5, 4 hours that I was playing for in that prologue.
Okay, that's a respectable chunk.
Because you can just run around doing side stuff. Like, I built like 2.5 extra like heart containers, quote unquote. They're not called that. I can't remember what they're called.
Yeah.
Just like running around, like blowing up walls to find hidden areas and shortcuts and all this kind of stuff. Yeah.
That's fun.
I'm so excited for it to come out.
It's June, right?
Yeah, it's like June 18th or 19th, I think it comes out.
Nice.
That's about all I've been doing. Just playing games and being so strong this morning.
Being so strong, go to the gym, being strong. That sounds like a pretty good mix.
But, transition. Let's talk about the game.
Yeah, I was trying to think of something clever and witty, and I just like blanking.
Yeah.
Nothing there.
No.
I'm a little hungover. I've rallied, but like there were moments today where I was like, oh, I'm a little hungover.
You're hungover. I've burnt all my energy for the morning already. This is going to be a great podcast. Let's go.
It's okay. It's my first podcast as a 30-year-old, so we got to make it a good one. It's my first time in my 30s podcasting.
Yes, congratulations. You're now a white podcaster in your 30s. We are the stereotype.
Right? I know. I'm in rarefied company.
We've only got a couple more seasons before I grade out of the 30s as well. And I don't know. I think that means I have to be more like down on everything after I hit 40. We'll find out.
Yeah, I think you have to start saying that nothing is as good as it was when you were in your 20s. It can't be in your 30s either. It has to be compared to when you were in your 20s.
Yeah, it's pretty much things are only good until your brain finishes cooking, I guess.
Yeah.
We rule!
So we open up with a flashback, as per usual, shocker.
Mm-hmm.
And this appears to be the first time the flashbacks haven't come in chronological order, because we are clearly before last chapter, which, as we know, opened with Rufina having died in flashback time. And she's clearly alive here because Kevin's on the phone with her. He's in Amberl City, which, have we heard the name before?
Yeah, I think it was mentioned in one of his earlier flashbacks, just briefly.
Hometown.
But yeah, it turns out Rufina is running late to meet him there. They're sort of reconvening back at their hometown.
Yep.
But she's running late on a job or something.
Meeting.
And she's like, oh, just go on ahead home. Like, see Reese and the kids. And Kevin's like, I don't want to go alone. She's scary.
Mm-hmm. I've brought a bunch of souvenirs for her because so that she stops being mad at me. And Rufina's like, I'm not sure that's going to do it, but good luck.
Yeah, they mentioned that she's been, like, especially in a funk recently.
With Kevin specifically, I think.
With Kevin specifically. But it's not because he's just left, because this is 2 years since he's been home. So it's been 9 years since they met initially, 2 years since he's been home.
Reese is 13 now.
Reese is now 13, which is the age Rufina was when they first met 9 years ago. So they're 9 years apart, which makes her 22 at this point.
I guess so. So anyway, as Kevin hangs up, he's like, okay, I'll go ahead, whatever. And then somebody rushes up and it's a priest.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently someone spotted a group of men dressed in all black. They're at the edge of town. They're heading up the mountain path, which is where the Astor house is, which I think is home. It becomes clear that that's where the kids are.
Yeah.
Clearly, when a bunch of men in black who seem dangerous suddenly start walking towards a remote orphanage or something, that's a little worrisome.
Yeah. Kevin just recalling, when I was a young boy, my adoptive older sister took me into the city to see a black-clad band.
So that's twice we've got 2000s emo music coming up in this episode. We're going to have to keep this going.
Look, it's coming up, yeah.
I need to come up with a contribution. They both came from you.
Kevin identifies that there are, like, between 5 and 10 of these Jaegers on site, because these black-haired men are the Jaegers. And he doesn't want anything to happen to Reese or the kids, so he commits to going in alone to take them on.
He doesn't think he can afford to wait for backup. So he apparently isn't going to, but we don't know how that goes yet. We're left in suspense. We get the title card, The Guardian's Trials.
Yes. And important to note, this is Guardians, as in the belonging of multiple guardians.
Yeah, there's an apostrophe after the S.
Yes. S apostrophe, not apostrophe S. This is a grammar podcast now.
Yes.
It did take me several times to read this and not see it as the Guardians' trails.
That'd be great. I'd love that.
But after our title card, we cut back to the garden. As you may remember from the end of last episode, we'd just been introduced to the floating, fully formed ghost of Celeste Cubina de Osles. The D stands for Cubina.
Exactly. I think I'm still gonna call her Cubina, honestly. I like that. You said it once and I have not let it go. I love it.
I had no idea her name even started with a C, so that was just luck on my part.
It's perfect. Now, immediately, clearly our party members recognize the name.
Mm-hmm.
Like us, they say, oh, that's the same as the name in those redacted documents we saw.
Yeah, so that was from the data crystals back in the altered spaces of the tetracyclic towers.
That's so many words to explain where it was.
And they all make sense to me now, which is stupid.
They do. They all make perfect sense. She's like, oh, I'm glad that was helpful. And that explains that she's not the real Celeste. She's like a copy, like an echo of her that was left inside the Matrix.
She calls herself a shadow. It sounds like she's basically sort of an AI clone of the original Celeste.
She's a ghost in the machine.
She is indeed a ghost in the machine.
A partial copy of her personality.
I wonder what that means for her.
Chloe even asked that. She's like, how can you be a partial copy? And we don't get an answer, really. She's like, well, I think I can explain it better if I explain the world we're in.
Mm-hmm.
She explains that Phantasma is a higher plane that was created by the Oriole thousands of years ago, which is the oldest timestamp we've ever heard. We've heard of things happening 1,000 plus, but never multiple thousands, like, to start with. Everyone's confused by the explanation at first, but basically, this is like a subsystem of the Oriole that it uses to, like, process and, like, manufacture the kind of, like, dreams or hallucinations, the, you know, AI psychosis, whatever.
Yeah, it's like a filtration system for everybody's will to kind of process them, check, I guess, if they're compatible or they're, like, competing wills and stuff. It's basically a what-if machine.
Yeah, sounds like that.
It just plays out a bunch of scenarios in sort of a fictionalized version of reality to see what's going to happen.
My understanding, which could be dead wrong, is that it was intended to work as kind of like, to give this person what they want, we're going to run like 1 billion simulations of like how that thing could turn out, and then she's the best one.
It's Doctor Strange in Endgame, is what it is.
Mm-hmm. But what we do confirm is that it's like a kaleidoscope of the real world, right? Like it pulls in pieces of the real world, not like literally they're still out there in the real world, but it takes them from people's minds and memories and kind of remixes elements of reality, which explains exactly what we've been seeing this whole time.
Yes, it's kind of generative AI, which sucks a little bit. But it is the villain, so that's good.
Yeah, it is bad. It did not go well. This program did cause the downfall of historical liberal. It did cause everyone to brain atrophy and civilizational collapse. But yeah, when they were trying to take down the Oriole, basically the problem was that because the Oriole had power over, you know, space, they like couldn't get the jump on it. So they created this Celeste copy to infiltrate this subsystem so that the Oriole couldn't see them coming and prevent their attack.
And so she was put into the system to implement the cube, what we now know as of this chapter as the Recluse Cube.
Yes.
It's basically a backdoor to the Oriole. It kind of bypasses the Oriole itself and goes straight through Phantasma to use the power of the Oriole without alerting the Oriole to it being used. So it's how they can kind of implement a plan to stop the Oriole without the Oriole knowing about it and countering it, which is cool. It's like hacking stuff. It's a nice, interesting solution.
And there's a little more detail than like, oh, we hacked it. I do like that there's an actual thought of like what they're hacking and how it's connected. That's kind of fun. And then anyway, Celeste like, so we succeeded. We locked the Oriole array and I went into a deep sleep until like a few months ago. She confirms for us very quickly that she does not know who Lord Phantasma is, just that this person showed up and took over everything and took all of Celeste's power.
Yeah. Also of note that Celeste makes a point of using they-them pronouns to not gender the Lord.
Sure. Which
the party hasn't been doing. They have referred to the Lord as a he a few times.
They have.
But Celeste is stepping back from that. And I only mention this because it stands out in a game this old using they-them pronouns. Because it's definitely a more recent public awareness thing, let's say.
Yeah, it wasn't as common.
No clue on the Lord's identity, but does know that they're in plane 7 right now. And everyone seems surprised to find out that there's a 7th plane. Clearly they can't see the fast travel menu where there are 7 circles.
Yeah, they can't see the UI. And they, like, the Lord of Phantasma created plane 7 first and has, like, backfilled the rest in.
Yeah, so Celeste assumes that if this was the first thing he built, it's obviously important and there's something critical to the Lord's plans going on there, probably, if it's where he started, or they started.
Yeah.
And just as everyone's trying to figure out what those plans might be, we are interrupted.
Celeste is like, they've darkened human thoughts, and somebody comes in to be like, yeah, I know about those. Kevin pops in.
Hooray!
And Kevin's up on his feet, seems to be doing well, is surprised to see Ren here. Ren's like, I want to talk to you later. I have a question for you, which we don't get follow-up on yet, but is a worthwhile thing to note. And Kevin also tells us that he's pretty sure he knows who the Lord of Phantasma is, but he's not going to tell us yet.
Of course.
It is kind of fun that Trails likes to play with, like, you don't get all the information the protagonist has.
Yeah.
They do this a few times where they make it quite clear that the protagonist has information they're hiding from the player as well as from the rest of the cast.
Yeah.
Which is a little more interesting of a tension than just, like, a side character refusing to tell information that's important when it's the main character hiding it from the player.
It's definitely a trend that the Trail series dives into even more. They love to have, like, a hidden mystery to solve, and they love to have someone be smart enough in the party to know it already. Which probably explains why after this we have, like, a police detective-focused arc, followed by, in the most recent arc, Daybreak, like, a full-on, like, public investigator guy.
PI, yeah.
Because it just plays into that thing they love to do so much, which is like, haha, we know, and you can try and guess, but you never will.
What's fun about it, like, it's a reverse of dramatic irony, right? Because dramatic irony is when the audience knows something that the characters don't. And so you're like, no, don't walk through that door, right? Or no, like, your mother's not alive. Don't believe the letters from her. Like, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's a flip on that, right? It's the dramatic irony of the main character knowing stuff we don't. But it is a fun kind of flip to spell it out for us that we're having information hidden by the person whose brain we're supposed to be in.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of frustrating because half the time these locked box mysteries, they have an answer that you can figure out if you're paying attention. The other half of the time, they're completely out of left field, and there's no possible fucking way you could have guessed what the Trails twist was. And there's no way of telling you which one it's going to be before you start, so you can just have your theories and then see if they pan out. I've already established my theories for who the Lord could be, and I am prepared to be both right and wrong.
Right, I was going to ask you if you wanted to state them again for the record.
I mean, my suspicion is because the they-them pronouns, that it's going to be a misdirect, and the Lord is a lady, and so I was sort of running through female characters it could be, and, like, who's important to the plot? We've got Ein. She's powerful and strong. She seems like she could be someone. But I don't know if we know what her deal is in the present day. Rufina's dead, but so are some of the other people we've seen in the Phantasma. So I don't know that excludes her. And then it could just be a completely random person I'm not predicting. But yeah, the two ladies are kind of my top guesses. Because I did briefly think that maybe it could be Ren playing dress up, but obviously she's shown up now, so it seemed like the kind of game, like the big extreme game that she would want to play, but turns out she's a player, not a game master.
Those are all interesting guesses. I'm not going to say anything to hint either way. I just want to put those on the record again. And yeah, Kevin does have some things he is willing to say about the Lord of Phantasma other than their identity. He says, you can only think of one person twisted enough to put them through everything they've been through, and that they're a real piece of work, a cunning, arrogant, cold-hearted son of a bitch who doesn't even see people as people. So these are some pretty harsh words from Kevin. But, like, they kind of tell us a lot and tell us nothing at the same time. Kevin basically says he wants one more piece of information to confirm.
Yep, that he reckons he'll be able to find in this next plane.
Yeah, which is it's an interesting prediction to be, like, sure you can make. Like, you don't have any idea what's happening in the next plane, but fair enough. Celeste promises that while we're all in the 6th plane, she'll try to learn more about the 7th. We all thank Kubina for helping us out. We get a sweet little moment with Kevin and Reese where Kevin's like, I'm sorry for worrying you so much, Reese. And Reese makes him promise. She's like, I won't ask you not to do anything reckless or dangerous, but I will ask you to swear not to do anything that would make Rufina sad. Kevin's like, oh, that's really hard. You really went for the jugular there, but he makes that promise.
Yep, he swears on Rufina's name that he won't do anything that would make her sad. The implication is, don't get yourself fucking killed, dude.
Yeah, and probably don't also work yourself to the point of passing out again and being out of commission for a chapter, because there's only so many chapters in this game, buddy. You can only have so much time you can be out of commission.
Yeah, it is kind of funny that after he revealed his... I almost said Strager, but I meant stigma. After he revealed his stigma...
I love that, though, his Strega. The Gralsritter have, like, an exclusive line of Stregas the rest of the world doesn't have access to.
Yeah, he just, like, pulls up his pant leg and reveals his religious Air Jordans. But no, his stigma reveal... He revealed his stigma and then passed out for a chapter. Now we can use it as his S-craft. It would be funny if every time he used his S-craft, he was out of commission for the next couple of battles before he could use it again.
That would be amazing. I assume he's not using it at full power, like he's holding back, like that he was using it at like a maximum power, that possible that first time. But yeah, do you want to do a little circle of the Hermit's Garden before we go to the door?
Yeah, I had a couple of little moments that I caught as we did our garden wander.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, most importantly, Kevin's back as leader of the party, but we get to pick all 3 other party members now.
We do.
We don't have an essential second, which I did get confused about for a second because as they wrap up this conversation, Kevin's like, I'll take the lead again, and Estelle, I need your support, so let's go. I assumed Estelle was going to be the mandatory second, but she's not.
No, it's kind of weird.
So who did I chat to? Oh, Tita and Ren. And also Annalise, if you don't have her in your party, are chatting down where they were last chapter at the little bench.
Right.
They're talking about their plush toys and stuff. Ren says she has heaps and wishes she could show them, I guess, at her room at Ouroboros. Tita brings up that she had a cat that she named, which is that implied to be Antoine, the cat who lives at Zeiss Central Factory? Did she find and name him?
It sounds like that could be the case, but I didn't think of that until you mentioned it. I was like, oh, she had a cat as a kid who's like not around anymore, but I'm gonna say it's Antoine. I'm gonna go with that. I love the idea that little kid Tita came up with the name Antoine. Like, not like Fluffy.
She saw this like really annoying high school kid, and so what's his name but fancier? Antoine, not Anton.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ren's counterpoint is, oh yeah, I had a cat too when I was at the society. The professor or someone called it a steel cougar, which is one of the boss monsters we fought. Yep.
Yeah. Tita's reaction is great. She's like, that's not the kind of cat I mean. That was my last conversation, actually.
And Annalise, if she's there, she's jealous about some limited edition plush that Ren has. Down in the original library area,
Yes.
we get access to the Doll Night.
Yeah.
The collection of books that are about Kevin, basically.
And that he was introduced as reading to those kids at Sunday school.
Yes.
That was Twilight that he brought to read, the young adult fiction book that he brought for Sunday school.
Chloe mentions that it's weird that there's so many books here, but they're not in any conceivable order. They're just kind of completely randomly organized. And Shara is also confused about the books. Like, there's some weird books here.
Yeah.
And then she pulls one out and says, what's this? And she finds it is called From Fat to Fit by Gilbert Stein.
2025 Boss Fight of the Year, Gilbert Stein, best-selling author.
He's selling a weight loss book, I guess.
Everyone gets a sweat drop thing. If you go and read it, you can go over and look at it, and it says, there's a book called From Fat to Fit written by Gilbert Stein. You don't get to see the text, but Kevin gets a ... over his head for a bit, and then he goes, and it's just like, puts it away, and I think you get an achievement on Steam as like, oh, wish you could erase my brain or something.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah.
Like, he is really committed, I think is what Kevin says.
Not to a good thing.
No.
Yucky Gilbert.
I had a great little convo with Joshua and Estelle, which was better from having Ren in my party, too.
Oh.
So, there's a few conversations that, like, you can have here. But first you get, basically, Estelle's just checking on Kevin, make sure he's okay.
I didn't do the Ren version, so with just Joshua and Estelle in front of me, they were talking about Schwarzritter and kind of talking around the fact that they both have a good idea of who he is. Estelle kind of confirms, like, you have the same suspicions I do, right? He's like, yeah, so I'm just, like, preparing myself for the eventual sort of reveal of that information and how to deal with it, because it's going to lead to a fight, more than likely.
Yeah, so if you have Ren in the party, she interjects after, I think it's after Joshua says that, I know, right? But with just a little ...
Oh, so yeah.
Just a recognition that she's also thinking the same thing, which is, I like that there's that little added touch.
Yeah. In like a follow-up conversation, Joshua also mentions that he thinks that the Lord and or Schwarzritter want us to know how the sausage is made. They gave us access to Cubina because they wanted us to understand the mechanics of this system. And he warns, like, that means they're going to try and use our memories or our feelings against us moving forwards more aggressively, because I guess being manipulated while you're knowing you're being manipulated is more affecting.
Either that, or it's a hint that, like, they want us to act based on the knowledge we've been given and are, like, playing, like, 5D chess. Basically, I think the point is that just because we figured it out doesn't mean we've gotten a step ahead of them. Like, we're still a step behind.
Yeah, exactly. They're willing to play on our emotions to kind of force our hand on decisions.
Yeah.
Thinking sort of emotionally rather than logically. And he also mentions that might be why they've been recreating like locations in La Burle, because that more easily allows them to create a fake scenario that would be affecting.
Yeah, and then, I mean, there were some other combos, but nothing else that I found particularly noteworthy.
Yeah, that's about all I had as well.
Ready for the starter?
Yes, so before we dive into the sixth plane proper, we're going to circle back to a star door we found at the end of last episode, Star Door 8.
Yep.
Which requires the frivolous prince and his cool friend against the beast they're trying to defeat.
Yes. So it's just Olivia and Mueller, who we definitely have.
Mm-hmm.
I adore this star door. It's a long one, but I love every moment.
It's so long.
So it starts a little after the banquet from Star Door 3.
1 month after the Liberarch crashed and just after the banquet itself.
Yeah. And we open with Olivier in the Erebonian embassy, tormenting the ambassador, who did not know all this time that he was the Prince of Erebonia.
Yeah.
And Olivier's having a really good time with that. But then he does kind of throw him a bone eventually after Mueller's like, you're pushing it too far. And Olivier says something interesting about how he knows that he's far from the Erebonian ideal of masculinity. Like, he's not, he doesn't fit that mold that he's supposed to. And then the conversation turns to discussing the Chancellor, who we have heard about but never seen.
I do also appreciate that when Ollie says he's non-traditional Erebonian, Cranach says that's exactly what we need going forwards. Like, you're the kind of person that we need in leadership in Erebonia.
Yes.
Because I've also been affected by living in Liberl as the ambassador for so long. I know I've changed a bit, and I look back at my country and be like, there's probably some stuff we could do a bit different.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Olivier is clearly happy to hear this, and he's also surprised that the ambassador's not a fan of the Chancellor. But he's like, is that because, I assumed you supported him, but is it because you're noble and the nobility doesn't tend to like him? And Cranach says, no, like, it's from living in Liberl, like, I generally support the reforms that he's doing, but I think his hardline approach is really scary and not good. And Olivier's quite happy to hear this. Like, doesn't overplay his hand, but it's clear that he's pleased by this. We also, I don't know if we've been told before that Olivier's mother is a commoner, but we are told it here. So just jot that down.
Yes.
People who don't know.
They also mentioned that the non-aggression pact signed between the various countries after the events of last game has caused progress with the crossbell problem. We get no further information on what that is.
Yeah, there has been some progress on it. Have we been told, I can't remember if we've had because I think we were told this a bit. Chloe explained basically the issues with Crossbell, very broadly speaking, that there's conflicts over sovereignty.
Yeah.
From the neighboring big powers. Like, we haven't been told the details of it, but we've told that both Calvert and Erebonia feel like they have a claim to it, and so there's this uneasy peace over Crossbell's kind of existence.
Yeah, it's kind of a tug of war over ownership of a city-state that just wants to be left alone, pretty much.
Yeah.
And as a result, there's, like, terrorism and stuff going on. So it's...
Yeah, and there's a lot of corruption there.
Kind of a hell pit, yeah.
There's a lot of issues. But we finish this little conversation, and Olivia and Mueller retreat to the bedroom. They talk about how Liberl seems to change people for the better. You know, Olivia makes this really interesting comment. I'm trying to not go line by line because there's so much, so I'm trying to just shout out highlights.
Yeah.
But Olivia makes this comment that his flashiness and his flamboyance and stuff are some of the only weapons he has against the Chancellor, which I think is a really interesting kind of point. And then they get to talking about, is the plan still go? The plan is still go.
Yeah.
A plan to return to Erebonia aboard the Arce.
Yes, everyone who needs to know that we're coming knows we're coming, and Olivier asks about any impediments. Mueller does mention that there is some movement from the Intelligence Division's 4th Division, which I feel like we know some names who belong in the 4th Division in later games, but I could not confirm.
Yeah, I believe we do in the later games, but at this point... I think we know that Erebonia has an intelligence division, but that's about the extent of what we know about the intelligence division in Erebonia.
Yeah.
Mueller thinks that this arrival back in the RSA is going to have an impact, like this is going to be important, but they think that the intelligence division is just dismissing whatever they're hearing as like Oliver's being flashy and wants to do something dramatic and flashy. Like they're all writing it off. This is what he thinks. But we get a knock on the door with a message from Heimdall. And when they come in, a very familiar face is the one delivering this message.
Indeed it is. It is a flashily dressed Lecter Arundel.
Yes. Very different environment from where we last saw him.
Oh, yeah.
And it's Secretary Lecter specifically, we were told, which is interesting. He also clearly has been working at this embassy for long enough that Olivier, is familiar with him. And Olivier immediately propositions him.
He says, hey, while you're here, let's have a threesome. No one responds.
Lecter's like, I have work to do. But he has the message that he Heimdall did not realize that Olivier was going to be able to fly from Le Bourg all the way to Heimdall, the capital city, to the capital of Erebonia in half a day, and they're kind of panicking about having his welcome home ceremony ready. And Olivier's like, why don't you come back to Heimdall with us? And Lecter's like, I have too much work to do. I have too much work, but thanks. And he leaves.
Yeah, and as soon as he leaves, like, Olivier and Mueller talk and say, so he's probably in the pocket of the Chancellor, right? Yeah.
Yeah. He's second secretary is his full title, which I don't know. I wonder who first secretary is.
But yeah, he's only been here for a little while. He arrived on foot via Haken Gate a month ago for this job, so, which means this was also right as the Liberarch stuff was happening as well.
Yeah.
Because we're a month past that. So he showed up right as a national disaster happened. I wonder if there'll be any more payoff of that, because it's a little too coincidental.
It's very coincidental. We also get to mention that they know he's the Chancellor's guy, and they let it pass because they want to be able to. They want to use him to gauge like the Chancellor's reaction to what Olivier's up to.
They can feed him like specific information to see, with some time, how the Chancellor's plans react to that, so they can better predict his moves in the future.
And then they go back to chatting. Olivier calls Mueller love, which I love. And then something happens that I'm going to talk a little at length about, because Olivier comments on how beautiful the moon is. And this reminded me of a Japanese thing. There's an old quote that Soseki Natsume, who's a famous Japanese author from a while ago, told students that when translating English literature to Japanese, you couldn't translate I love you directly, because a Japanese person wouldn't say that directly. It would be weird and off-putting. English is a much more direct language. Now, I think this is a little also not quite as much the case today as it was back then. But so the way he proposed to translate I love you is the moon is beautiful, isn't it?
Okay.
Now, we don't know if that's a real anecdote or if that's a fake, but I like to think that this is a reference to that, and that this is Olivier saying, I love you, Mueller.
It's his version of, the Japanese is aishitaru, is I love you, I think?
Maybe, but I don't know if you use that as much for expressing romantic love to people, or if you used it back in the day, but I think this might be a reference to that famous story.
I like to picture a version of this where instead of facing the window, he's just staring at the back of Mueller and says, the moon is lovely tonight.
That works too.
Those glutes are well-toned from carrying me all over the country.
I like the idea that scene is a little bit of a nod towards the idea of Olivier and Mueller having a romantic connection that's like not in just the joking way it's always presented, but a slightly more like earnest like nod towards that.
Yeah.
But basically they kind of bemoan the fact that they won't be back in the world for a long time to see this moon, and hopefully we'll get to come back when we're both still alive, which is a bit of an ominous note.
Yeah.
And we flash forward to the throne room where Olivier's saying his formal goodbyes. We learned from Cassius that Estelle and Joshua are currently in Roland preparing to leave. So this is like right before the goodbye scene in Moondor 4, which I like how the timing is like completely lined up.
Yeah. I love how many different doors are sort of crossing streams now.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Olivier mentions that ahead of them sort of departing on their big international trip, he's going to make sure that they will be able to access Harmel, which is a restricted area in Erebonia.
Yes.
So that by the time they get to Erebonia, they'll be able to visit Josh's home village without issue.
We also get a little discussion of the steam tanks thing at the end of SC, which is why they think the Chancellor had all these steam tanks ready to go and what he was trying to do. And Olivier and Cassius both kind of agree that his goal wasn't really to like occupy Liberl in that moment. It was more to make a show of power to the world.
Yeah.
That Erebonia would still be dominant without orbital power. And they succeeded at that. They clearly did show that. Yeah,
they want to show that nothing can stop them, even an orbital shutdown. But as the Queen is wishing Olivier and Mueller safe travels on their return to Erebonia, we are interrupted by headmaid Hilda rushing in because we have an unexpected guest at the gates.
Yep, and Oliver's like, well, I'll leave you to it, I'll get going. But apparently he wants to see Oliver too, this guest.
And in walks a new face. It is Chancellor Gileath Osborne.
Accompanied by Lecter Arundel. Lecter's walking a little behind him, a little to the side.
Yes, in second secretary position.
Yeah, and we get that kind of grandiose, imperial, almost march-like music that we've heard before playing as he walks in.
It's very surprising to see him here because I don't think we covered it before, but when they were talking about Osborne and their return to Erebonia back in the bedroom, they mentioned that when Olivier arrives back in the city, it'll be a day or two after Osborne has left on his tour of the eastern provinces of Erebonia.
Yeah.
So they basically timed it so that he could get in while Mr. Mastermind was out of town so they could start their plans.
Yeah.
And then, lo and behold, told, instead of being in the eastern territories of Erebonia, here he is in the fucking Liberlian throne room. And he says, oh yeah, things were going really well on my eastern tour, so I had some spare time, so I thought I'd cross the border and come give my regards to the Queen.
We get a full portrait, and he does, he's an interesting looking guy, very stern looking. He's got some military medals on, too. He's got this white streak in his hair. Like, I know what he looks like very well, but it's fun seeing this earliest version of him.
Yeah.
So this is like total court formality speech that everyone's doing, but there's clearly like everyone's kind of questioning what the fuck's going on, and he's really good at deflecting it. Olivia's like, why are you here? And Osborne's like, well, it's my first chance to come to Liberl since the crisis, and obviously the correct diplomatic, respectful thing to do would be to pay a visit as soon as I could. The Queen is like, well, I'm sorry that our crisis affected South Erebonia. And Osmond's like, no, I know it wasn't your fault. There was a shadowy organization operating within your borders, which is kind of a dig, because he's also kind of being like, you guys just couldn't do anything about the shadowy organization. It's kind of a diss at her control of her country to be like, yeah, I know that there were all these criminals that just ran around your country and you couldn't do anything about it.
It is.
But he says, well, I sent tanks to help, but it was reckless of me to just go ahead and do that and not think about what it looked like. I'm very sorry. The Emperor scolded me for it. He's not sincere, but he's doing diplomacy, and he's doing it well enough that nobody can call him out on lying.
Yeah.
He thanks Olivier for correcting my mistake.
Yeah, he's like playing up the position of middle manager, which is
yes,
a little odd because he's a very senior person, but he's just saying like, oh yeah, this affected and that affected and blah, blah, blah.
We also get a really fun moment where Olivier points out for the first time that Cassius Bright is also right there, and Osborne kind of snaps to attention. Like, he did not realize that was Cassius Bright, and he's like, oh, hey. And they exchange really friendly compliments with the most tension you've ever seen between two big smiling faces.
Oh, yeah.
It's so tense.
After all the formalities, Osborne asks to speak privately with Olivier before he departs for Heimdall.
And he says, I can't join you on the Arcee. I wish I could, but I have too much to do. But he wants his audience, so.
Yep. So they step away into one of the side rooms prepared by Hilda to have a private meeting. And interestingly, Osborne kind of acknowledges that his time in Liberl has really sort of refined Olivier's skills and personality. Like, he seems like a more evolved version of himself compared to when he left.
Yeah. And Olivier's like, well, you're the same as ever. He kind of drops the gloves here a bit. Once they're in private, he's more direct. Osborne starts by talking about, tea versus coffee, and Olivier's like, no, let's get to the point.
Yeah.
Olivier says that you have a fearless, crushing aura, like you feed on the resentment of those who live in the territories you annex. And Osborne just goes, I prefer political unification to annex.
I'm sure you do.
Which is also a really choice word. I'll talk about this a bit later, but there's a big historical reference being made here in who Osborne's based on, a real person, and this is a really key term. I'm going to be a bit of a nerd later. I apologize in advance.
Yep.
But Osborne's like, all of our unifications have been peaceful. We haven't been the aggressor since the 100 Days War, which was before he was around in the military and in power, but he wasn't in charge then.
Yeah.
And Olivier's like, on the surface, that's true.
Yeah, but it's crazy how all of these unifications play out almost exactly the same way. There's some country that's got problems, and then those problems get way worse. Bad people enter the country.
Jaegers get involved. Yeah.
Things really go to shit, and then when they're desperate, they ask the Imperial Army for help from Erebonia, and before they know it, they're part of the Empire.
Yeah.
He also mentions a little bit later, it's like, and it's weird how intelligence division folks always seem to be traveling to these countries right before things go bad. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. I was like, that's risk management, baby. Olivia makes a point also that, this probably increases the risk of terrorism because you make people really hate you, and they have a reason to want to do some bad shit because you run ramshot all over them. And Osborne kind of laughs this off. But Olivier leads us into I'm really surprised you came to Liberl because you are the #1 terrorist target in Erebonia. So I'm surprised you'd leave where you have your full operation of security. And Osborne's like, oh, well, actually, Lecter's just so good at his job that I'm not worried. My next stop is Crossbell.
This recent high school graduate is really protecting me.
Not graduate. He dropped out. Very important.
Sorry. This beauty school dropout is ready to protect me at any time. And yeah, Osborne mentions oh yeah, like I said, I want to go on the Arcee with you because that would be an experience. But my next itinerary item is taking me to Crossbell.
Olivier's drops his composure for the first time.
and I think it's Olivier brings up like, oh yeah, it's so crazy. You're heading to Crossbell. That's like the worst place for you to be. Also, there's a bunch of terrorism and multiple conflicting parties, and that country is really struggling at the moment. I wonder if that relates to our earlier part of the conversation.
Yep. And Osborne also mentions that he's going for top secret discussions with a high Crossbell politician because, well, there's been a lot of money coming in from Calvert lately, so we kind of have to reestablish our whatever. And Olivia's like, it's almost worse that you're going for secret, non-official meetings. Like, you're not going for an official state visit. You're going, like, on the sly. That's kind of sketchy. But Osborne does make the point that Olivier cannot really tell other people that they're putting themselves in danger when he went to the Oriole, which is a fair shot.
Yeah. You went to the Oriole, and now you're making this big splashy return. So good job on the PR for your return home.
Yeah. We get a mention. Osborne is like, yeah, I hope you reach your potential or succeed in getting this political foothold and building yourself up like you plan. Like, so he both gives away that he knows this whole thing that Olivier's been planning.
Yeah.
Then it's like, and I hope you succeed, sweetie. Like, as though you're not a threat to me at all.
It is interesting because we've sort of seen shades of it so far in mentions of Erebonia, but Erebonia is very much divided between the common folks and the nobles.
Yeah, strict class system.
The Chancellor is common born, and Olivier is like the bastard son of the king, basically. He was born to a commoner mother.
Yes.
So he has no hope of becoming king or anything. So in a way, Chancellor Osborne is like, game recognized game.
Yeah.
You've come from quote unquote nothing. A really nice nothing, let's be real.
Yes.
But you're building up your social cachet in a country that doesn't respect people for hard work. It's just for, like, inheritance.
Yeah.
So I feel like there are some shades of it where Gileath is like, okay, I recognize it. Like, you're a player too, and I can respect that. We are on opposite sides, but I have to respect the hustle.
Yeah, we're going to get some interesting stuff on this too, because they have a lot in common, but there are important things that are different, and that's the source of the problem. We're going to get that in the next segment, which I'm excited to get to. But first, we have another exciting thing. Following up on Moondor, what number was it? 3, maybe? Chloe's Moondor, where she was like, I didn't see Lecter again until a really shocking place where I didn't expect to see him.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, this is it. Surprise! Lecter is up on the balcony spot of Love Confessions, one of them, there's 2. But he's on the balcony spot of Positive Love Confessions, not the balcony spot of Poison Kisses. And he's chatting with Sieg, very clearly, fluently understanding everything Sieg says.
Weird, yeah.
Or he's faking it and pretending, but I think he understands, because I assume he has bird telepathy somehow.
Yeah, why not?
But Claudia here arrives, and Lecter immediately just pretends he doesn't know her. And she gets annoyed with him, of course. So he flirts.
Yeah, she's pushing him. She's like, how did you end up with Osborne, like, after you left the school? And he's like, oh, no, I think you've got me confused with someone else. My name is Lek Arundel.
Yeah.
You're looking for Lecter Arundel. So I get the mistake. It's fine.
It's like he has multiple lines of defense and, like, deflection. So he's like, first I'm going to pretend I don't know her. Then she cuts past that one. So he's like, then I'm going to flirt, like, as a social buffer, like a distraction. And she clearly recognizes that's what he's doing. And she's like, okay, but seriously tell me how you ended up working for Osborne. At which point we cut back to our earlier conversation. We don't get follow-up yet. And we go back to find Olivier going, I'm really surprised you want me to gain political power, Osborne. And Osborne talks about how they're actually very similar. He's like, I think you're like me, Olivier. I think you kind of hate Erebonia because of all this rigid traditionalism and this class hierarchy and stuff. Osborne says, my grip on power is more tenuous than it seems, that the capital is full of supporters who love me, but the nobility has a lot more sway outside the capital, and the nobility hates me. He spells out what power he has. He's like, I command 70% of the Imperial Army, but 30% of it's loyal to the nobility, and also all the big nobles have private armies, so, it's not a curb stomp. Olivier mentions that this is another key factor from my little lecture coming later, is that Osborne has been building railways everywhere, as well as annexing countries, which is to expand his influence. And Osborne's like, clearly you understand me better than anyone else, just like I've always suspected. And then Osborne's like, so join me, and together we can rule the galaxy as Chancellor and Prince. You can be my ally against the noble faction and towards reform.
Yeah, weirdly, Olivier's not into it.
Weirdly, I wonder why.
But he does outright ask Osborne, what is your connection to Ouroboros, the society? And Osborne, being the political smarmy man he is, dodges the question, but just says, like, I will use any tool I have to achieve my goals.
I think this is quietly confirming he has a connection to Ouroboros, that he is in contact with them and has a relationship. Not that they're necessarily working arm in arm, but that there's a positive relationship. I think he's not outright saying it, but very clearly he's like, we're connected and I'm willing to use them. Yeah,
he's confirming without confirming, basically.
Olivier says, we see it eye to eye in a lot of ways, and that's the reason that I have to reject your request. Osborne actually seems a bit surprised by this, and Olivier's like, I hate the noble faction, I really do, but I actually I'm more afraid of your methods than I am of the noble faction.
Yeah.
You are whipping up this nationalist frenzy, and once you defeat the noble faction, the bloodthirst you're, like, working up is going to turn outwards, and then it's going to get scary. And Osborne's just like, you're right, that's the first stage of my reforms.
Great.
That's exactly it. Happy to tell you more if you agree to work together. No shying away from it, right? He just admits it. He's like, yeah, that's my plan. I want to get people bloodthirsty with a nationalist fervor.
Love to see it, huh? Just confirming all of your evil plans. But now it's time for Osborne to leave for his flight.
Because the bell rings.
The bell rings, ding, 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 it's time to go.
Mueller walks in and is like, Olivia, you look exhausted. Like, clearly this has been draining his shit.
Yeah. He hasn't quite built up his, like, resilience at, like, princely duties as much as his debaucherous duties.
Well, and, like, navigating a conversational minefield. But we travel back in time a little bit because we're back with Lecter and Claudia, who have not heard the bell ring yet.
Lecter puts the question to her, it's like, it seems like you've grown a lot. Have you fallen in love? And Claudia very glibly goes, I sure did, and I got rejected right here.
Lecter didn't see that coming. He sees a lot coming. He didn't see that coming.
And he's like, who would reject you? You're a catch.
But Chloe's like, I don't know. I kind of think you know everything always. And he goes, no, the fact that I don't know everything when I know most things is what makes the world interesting to me. And he gives her a pat on the head. The bell rings. She's like, before you go, like, please, like, how did you end up working for Osborne? And Lecter says, I was working for him before I ever showed up at the academy.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. Because I really thought that he was, like, headhunted from the school, and that was how they came into awareness. But he was, like, on the payroll before he even started high school.
Oh, yeah. He was sent there by Osborne. And then he blasts his last comment is to let Olivier know to watch his back because he's picked a fight with a monster.
Yes. Watch out for Osborne. He's a bigger beast than you'd even thought. And that was where I thought the door was going to end, and then it kept going.
Then it keeps going. Only a little longer, though. We're at the airport, and Osborne is taking a public airliner. Like, I'm sorry. What the fuck?
Optics.
This is the equivalent of the Prime Minister of England or something, right? Like, there is a monarch, but this is the head of the political, like, body. You're taking a public airliner? Really?
It's a PR stunt for sure. It's just like, oh, look, I'm a relatable everyman.
It is, but like with all the terrorist threats we've heard about, like really, he's really confident.
Do you really want to be endangering everyone else on the Calabria?
Yeah, well, he's going to Remiferia. The plane, they say it's headed to Remiferia. We don't know if it's the first stop or if he lied about going to Crossbell next to see what Olivier's reaction would be, because both are possible knowing him.
Could be, yeah.
Meanwhile, Olivier is at like the private docking area for the RSA, and Cher's come to see him off, which is sweet.
Yeah, it's a whole crowd here. We've got Sharon, Olivier, Julia, Mueller, and Chloe and Cassius.
Not quite as impressive as Joshua and Estelle's farewell party, of course, but...
Yeah. Shara's like equally weirded out by Osborne catching public transport, but the main reason she's there is to say goodbye to Olivier, which is so sweet.
It is.
She also asks, like, before you go, though, what's the deal with that, like, Lecter dude? What's the story there? And Olivier's just like, well, he's just this new secretary. He's kind of a mystery that we haven't figured out yet. And Chloe pipes up and goes, I know. Everyone's just like, what the fuck? He's like, oh yeah, he went to school with me, and then he vanished. And now he works for Osborne.
And the group realizes that this means that Osborne's had an information network established in Liberl since before FC.
Yes.
Which none of them had realized. They thought he was building one now. They didn't realize that he'd had one all this time.
Yeah.
So he knew everything that was happening during SC. He and the coup in FC, like he knew everything.
Which is interesting because, like, the Gen Pop of Erebonia don't know what the deal was with the Liberarch or anything, but that doesn't mean all of Erebonia is unaware because Osborne's got the full timeline of the last two games ready to go.
So now we've set up that he has an information network in Liberl and probably in a lot of other countries, given that we know that he's been meddling there. And he's got some sort of contact with Ouroboros, it sounds like. So that's he knows a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Olivier asks Julia for a favor while they're in the air, because, of course, Julia is the captain of the RSA. She's doing it.
Yes.
And we cut to the public airliner that Lecter and Osborne are on the deck, and they're the only people on the deck.
Mm-hmm.
I guess maybe they hid security, not let anyone else out on deck.
Maybe.
And they're basically discuss that Osborne sees everyone as a pawn, and Osborne's like, yeah, including myself. And the Empire is a game board, and he's setting up something thrilling to happen. He's excited for it. Lecter has a really interesting comment where he's like, I might betray you at some point. And Osborne's like, yeah, that's cool. He's like, I kind of expect that. And then Lecter asks, how are the other Iron Bloods doing? Which I don't think we've heard that term before.
No, but given that we know that the Chancellor's cool title is the Blood and Iron Chancellor, Iron Bloods sounds like his squad of little weirdos like Lecter.
Sounds like it. Osborne says they're doing well. They're doing so well that, all of Olivier's little efforts might not come out to anything. And Lecter looks over, off we can't see where, and he goes, I think you might be underestimating this guy. And then the RSA pulls up.
Pulls up alongside them midair, and Olivier's like, hey, I won't be outdone, not ever.
And he's got this bouquet of roses, and he throws them over to the other deck, but then as they're in the air above the deck of the public airliner, he shoots them in the middle, so rose petals fall around everywhere. And as he does that, the announcer on the ship delivers a message from Olivier to the passengers, being like, it's lovely to have encountered you, and I wish you well. And it's very much presented like, and if you look out the right window, you'll see the Prince of Erebonia.
And the RSA flies off, and then my favorite line from Lecter comes as they're sort of standing dumbfounded on the deck. He just says, I never thought there was a bigger dumbass in this world than me, and yet here we are.
That's great. Osborne's excited. Osborne starts laughing in larger font and goes, very well, debaucherous prince. And he goes, I'm excited to see what you can do. Let's see how long you can hold out against me. And then that's the actual end.
That's the end, finally. Woo!
Now I want to talk about something. Because Osborne as a character, I've been waiting to figure out the best place to do this because I want to actually talk about it a bit. He's a reference to a historical figure. Very explicit, very clear. To a man called Otto von Bismarck, who was the Chancellor of the German Empire. He was responsible for the unification of Germany. Well, he wasn't the only person responsible, but he's largely responsible for the unification of Germany. Was called historically the Blood and Iron Chancellor. Before he was Chancellor, he was the Minister-President of Prussia and Foreign Minister of Prussia, all this stuff. He makes this speech in 1862 where he says, the great questions of the time will not be resolved by speeches and majority decisions, but by iron and blood. And that's where it comes from.
I see.
Not just the name, there's a lot of really similar stuff going on. So I'm going to give a little brief history. The Holy Roman Empire is kind of the entity that Germany exists as for the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, all this stuff. But it dissolves in 1806 and there's 40 tiny little states that speak German that all have their own monarchy and are all kind of loosely connected, but not really. But there's this desire in the 1800s to create this one unified German state. But Prussia kind of becomes the leader of this movement in a lot of ways, and the King of Prussia is facing all this political pressure, and he appoints this dude Bismarck to kind of get it done and navigate this political minefield because the liberals in this country are mad at him, and the conservatives are kind of mad at him, and the socialists are kind of mad at him. There's a whole thing. There were just some bad riots in the streets, so he appoints Bismarck, and Bismarck runs away with it. He accumulates all this economic power. Prussia's always got crazy military power. He expands the railways, which were already expanding and have been called, that's the foundation of the German Empire, because what it allowed for the economic abilities, but also just the connection between people to form a national identity was huge. But a big thing he does is he starts stirring up nationalism in Germany to get the German people really hungry for war as he keeps annexing more and more, he unifies more and more countries. Now, to be clear, a lot of them are not what we would call annexing. A lot of them do. Some of them are outright annexed. He starts a few wars. There's this increasing fear of a war with France, and a lot of them want Prussia's army, and so they kind of agree. He kind of lets them, you can call yourself prince, but you'll be under our power. I'm not the expert in this of any means, but there's a lot of different tactics he uses to get all these states to be one Germany, which is still kind of what we would think of as modern day Germany with a few exceptions on the border.
Yeah.
But so his whole idea is he wants to get the German people hungry for war, convinced that a foreign power is the aggressor that you have to defeat, and then manipulate circumstances to make sure this big war with France happens. And it does. This is also, the unification of Germany is why we have Grimm's fairy tales. It's a weird note.
Oh, okay.
They were written to take all of the different, like, little regional fairy tales in different parts of Germany and make, like, one unified version of them for, like, one sense of national identity.
Oh, okay.
Similar to, like, all of German, like, there's a lot of different, like, dialects of German, and they all get unified into, like, one standard German. But he did some significant reforms, this guy, which is similar to Osborne. He's not... Like, he does come from nobility, but he does increase economic mobility for the middle class. He technically creates the world's first welfare state, but, like, it's not much of a welfare state. He creates insurance, like, state-sponsored insurance for workers who become sick or injured or, like, grow old, which was a big deal during the industrial era. But he largely did this so that the socialists didn't have as much leverage to say against him. Okay. But the last thing I'm going to point out is that when he falls from power is because the king who always supported him dies. The king's son dies of cancer like 99 days later. And the king's grandson comes to power, and the king's grandson hates him. And he's never made a plan for this guy because he never thought this guy would be a political opponent of his. He's like, I'll be dead long before this kid's on the throne. And so the guy dismisses him, which kind of parallels what's going on with Osborne, that it's this one son, in this case, not grandson, but this bastard son of the king you don't think you're ever going to have to deal with. I just think it's kind of fun.
That is fun.
He was really unpopular for a lot of his career, but, like, he still managed to hold on to power and be this autocrat the whole time. But he creates the chain of dominoes that leads to World War One, which also kind of means it leads to World War Two. Like, the set of, like, alliances that all blow up at the start of World War One, like, he sets that up, that European chessboard. There's no World War One or World War Two without Bismarck. None of the 20th century, like, the major things that we think of defining the 20th century and the world since then, most of that probably doesn't happen without this man.
Interesting.
Like, it wasn't good. The stuff that he set in motion to happen, a lot of it was bad, but it was really important. And Kondo has said specifically that Erebonia is based on Germany in the lead up to World War One. Yeah. So this is, like, a very clear, direct parallel. There's no ambiguity about the fact that Chancellor Osborne is based on Bismarck. So I thought it would be fun to kind of outline what we're looking at, what reference they want to be making here. Okay. They use the term political unification, I think, really deliberately. Yeah. Anyway, sorry for going off like that. I wanted to touch on some of the stuff I find really interesting because I'm a nerd. Yeah. Oh, and the last thing I want to mention, actually, is that at the time, the railway, when it was introduced, was called the Iron Monster, which I think is just a fun turn of phrase.
The Iron Monster, okay.
Yeah, German roads were really shit at the time, so having a railway was, like, an extra big deal because, like, you couldn't get down the road.
There you go. Well, that's
all I have. You've had your lecture for the day.
Well, now that we know all this background, what are we rating Star Door 8, Return to the Empire?
It's actually a 5 out of 5 for me.
5? Okay.
5 for me. It's up there with the Northumbria, the Salt Pale one, but even though it's very different, I love every second of this. I eat the shit up. It's juicy for me. It was very long, but, like, I was happy the whole time. What about you? I know you found it really long.
Yeah, I'm going to ding it a little bit for that. I enjoyed it.
That's fair.
It's nice to see some new characters and some interactions between characters that we haven't seen without the main party presence. So I think I'll give it a 4, because that's the same I gave for, like, Descended Wings, the Chloe one. That's that fair. I felt ran a little bit long. But yeah, so it is a 4.5 out of 5 stars.
Because it kind of feels like it should be a moon door, lengthwise.
It definitely does. Like, it outstrips the length of the moon door we're doing this week.
Yeah, it kind of feels like they wanted, like, 5:15, like, numbering instead of, like, 6:14 or something, so they kind of moved one over.
Yeah, it's an edge case. But yeah, that was Star Door 8, Return to the Empire. Yeah. 4.5 out of 5 stars average.
Yeah, now we can move on to the dungeon crawling.
How's that?
I changed my party a lot this chapter, but who was in your party when you first went off to enter the new world?
When I first started, I took Kevin, obviously, Chloe, conveniently, as well as Tita, so I could try out her Orbital gear, and Jin, because I hadn't had him in the party for a while.
Nice. I have a different party, so that's fun. I had Chloe, but then I had Aga and Estelle.
Oh, okay.
Because I knew of a conversation that might be fun, that might pop up, so I wanted to get that. It wasn't that much of one, but it was a little fun.
Nice. Yeah, I mixed it up a little bit, but for this first section, I took these guys as we entered the 6th plane.
Yeah.
We show up in a recreation of the, what's it called? The Royal Road?
Scenic Route.
Scenic Route. There it is, yeah. We're off in the one spot that I don't immediately identify because it's at the far end of the route that doesn't have anything at it. It's the spot where we got on the airship.
Yeah, we were only able to go there that one time getting on the airship. The rest of the time, it's just like, you can't go through.
Yeah. So we're off to the side of the scenic route. Also, as we enter this area, I was leveling up like crazy.
Yeah. Well, Kevin's been out of commission for a whole chapter.
That's the thing, yeah. Like, just between here and getting to the monument that we're heading to, he leveled up 10 levels.
That's crazy.
He went from 114 to 124. It must be scaled to, like, bring them up to a certain, like, expected median level.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, there's Shining Palms at the start, but I didn't even need to fight any of them, which is good because the party I had, not a one of them could fucking hit the thing.
Oh my god.
Like 3 out of 4 were doing 0 damage, and then Teoh was just missing.
Yeah, that's
so like one of the 2 Shining Palms that I did defeat, I only defeated because I had her use an orbital laser to shoot it from the space.
Yeah, you kind of have to S-craft.
And that was the only way to do damage.
They're immune to like every element, like, or whatever. It's like, so magic doesn't really work, and they're almost impossible to hit without an S-craft.
Yeah, so I leveled up heaps, because this was also a party of folks that I hadn't really been using actively for the last little bit. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you find the same monuments that are scattered around the scenic route, and I don't recall if they're the same monuments, because I thought it was like red, yellow, blue, green, but one of them is the Noval Monument, which is the black one.
Oh, I didn't look at all of them. I forget, so I don't know, actually. I thought they were the same, but I didn't see the Noval one, and I believe you that it's there, so I guess they're not the same.
Yeah, so the ones I found was the Noval Monument, which would be Time Sepith.
Yeah.
Amberl, which is Earth.
And Sapphirl.
Sapphirl, blue, water, and red, the Carnelia Monument.
I thought it was them plus the wind, the Ismelas Monument, and...
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I think other than the Noval, I think the Noval one is where Ismelas would be, I guess, but I think the others correspond.
I assume so. Yeah, so it's interesting that is the one thing that's swapped.
Yeah.
But yeah, each of the monuments are just blank. They're color-coded, but they don't have any text on them. It says it's like too faded to read or something.
Yeah.
Until you make your way to the Sapphirl Monument, which is the only one that has writing on it. When you step up to read it, it says, "The Lord of Phantasma does decree. Here lies the monochrome schoolhouse. Place your hand on this monument. The white wings among your number."
The text is hard to read on top of the monument glowing thing. It's like weirdly hard to read.
Yeah, it's not a great choice. They haven't dimmed the screen enough for it to be distinct. But yeah, so basically this is kind of like a memory door, except it's not a door, but you do need a specific party member. So the white wings, that's Chloe.
Yeah, I think it's really funny that Cubina pops up to be like, "That sounds like my descendant Chloe," and I'm like, we know by now the white wings means her. We've used the same code like 5 times for doors.
Everyone's surprised to see her show up as well, because she literally, it's not just a voiceover, she like appears in her sort of fully realized ghostly form.
She like astral projects from the Hermit's garden.
The thing that I found funny is she's like, "Oh, don't worry, this isn't really me. This is just a shadow I've created. So this is a shadow of a shadow."
We're in Plato's cave again, I think. Plato's Cave of Hades strikes again.
But yeah, she says, "It sounds like you're going to have to do these in the order that the Lord wants you to do them."
Sorry, saying the Lord wants you to do it is really funny. Like, I know you mean Lord of Phantasma, but I really, yeah.
It's just always the Lord in my notes. So yes, the Lord on high in the 7th plane wishes for us to do these in a specific order, which is why only one of them has text. And it's just like, well, I guess you got to play along. That's kind of all you can do.
Yeah. So we go in, which means we have to wait while the text fills in again, because it takes fucking forever.
Again, yes.
We can't just be like, "Yes, we have Chloe, let's go." And it's all black and white.
Yeah, it refers to the monochrome schoolhouse, and that is where we are. It's full of 2 types of enemies, and they really don't explain this very well.
They don't.
You have the Dark Knights and the Color Knights. Both of them say that they're an animated suit of armor in their little battle description, and that beating it may make something happen.
Maybe.
What they should say is beating the Dark Knights will make something happen. Beating the Color Knights will reset your progress.
Yep.
Because the trick of this area is, despite the fact that you want to make everything go back into color, you shouldn't fight the Color Knights to release the color. You should fight the Dark Knights to undark the school, I guess?
I guess the idea is that you don't want everything to be black and white, so I guess they don't have a white knight. It'd be too confusing to have a black knight and a white knight and have you kill both, so just go with black. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I remembered this part, so I didn't really have to think about it and just did it, but it is, they really don't explain anything.
Yeah, I was just running around fighting everything and picking up the treasure chests, which is a whole bunch of treasure chests that all have $10,000 in them.
I soon, but for a moment you're like, oh yay, money.
But yeah, the trick is you've got to go and only fight the Dark Knights in each of these areas to restore color. So that's separately for the 2 dormitories, the schoolhouse, and the auditorium. You have to go in, dodge the Color Knights, fight the Dark Knights, because if you fight a Color Knight, you have to restart the process for that area.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize when I was running around originally. I think like one of the dormitories, just by luck, I fought the 2 Dark Knights in a row, and that one turned color, and then nothing else did. And so if I didn't have a walkthrough, I wouldn't have a fucking clue.
It's ridiculous.
There is no in-game text that explains this. Not once.
And it's weird because we don't usually get a puzzle like this. Like, if it was a kind of game where you usually had to try and figure out, like, where there was weird in-game puzzles like this regularly, it might be more intuitive to be like, okay, well, let's think about how to deal with this as a puzzle.
Yeah.
But we don't have a precedent for that, really.
Yeah, what they really needed to have, and may have in like a remake if they ever get to it, is each time you defeat a Dark Knight, it should partially restore the color, like 10% color grading or something.
Yeah.
And that way, after each battle, you get like a bwom, and it just increases a little bit. That way, if you do fight a Color Knight, it goes badoof, and it just returns to black and white.
Yeah.
That would give you some sort of indication that you were making progress, but there's
nothing.
Very annoying.
But we run around. Oh, there was a couple of fun chest messages. We got another Did You Know, which I always like. We got Did You Know, Trails in the Sky's Japanese name is Sora no Kiseki, but the Japanese team has fully endorsed the English name to the point where it's used on the cover of the Sora no Kiseki manga in Japan. I did know this, and that's cute.
One I spotted in one of the classrooms.
Oh, yes?
It says Victims' Memoirs. I ate my friend today. What else was I supposed to do? I was starving. We both were. And there's no food here. So we decided together that one of us should try to live just a little bit longer. What the fuck?
Do you know that there's an important case in... Nobody knows this. Why am I even asking this? There's a really important case in English case law from the 1800s about whether or not this would be... Well, that says this would be okay if you agreed to it. But if you kill somebody to eat them to survive, you can't murder someone. They don't consent. But it was like castaways in a shipwreck. They murdered someone to eat them. It's like Deadly and Stevens, I think it's called. And they're like, it was necessity. And the point is, necessity is not a defense to murder. Like, if the guy had died on his own and then you ate him, that would suck and be gross. But like, that wouldn't be a crime. Yeah. But so this kind of means that if the friend agreed, then I guess it's not a crime. It's just gross and disturbing.
But yes, so once you've made your way around and collected all the chests with $10,000 in them and restored all the color to all of the areas, the door to the old schoolhouse opens as our sort of final destination. Also, inside this monochrome schoolhouse is where we found our next Star Door 9. Yes. And I love this one because the challenge of Star Door 9 is give me $50,000. Yeah. That's it.
Which... you've just been like, oh, I'm finally getting money to use for all these expensive weapons and stuff. And like, no, we just gave you money to enter the Star Door.
Yes. Pay me $50,000 and I'll let you in. Fuck you, pay me, basically. So yeah, we make our way towards the old schoolhouse. And as we're on the road up to the schoolhouse, we run into 3 surprising people. It's my bracer, and me.
Yeah, they're back. And I love that Kevin just goes, who are you guys? I've never seen you before.
Yeah, it is Rocco, Dean, and Raish, the 3 lieutenants of the Ravens back in Rouen, but now junior bracers. And I even appreciate that they're a boss fight. So when you get into the boss fight, their description even says that they are a young bracer with the Rouen Guild now.
Yeah, that's adorable.
It doesn't mention that they're like former gangsters or members of the Ravens or anything. So it's just like, that's very sweet.
I brought Agate and Estelle specifically because I knew it was going to be them.
Oh, yeah. What happened?
So when Kevin goes, who are you? Which is kind of funny because this is also, everyone who's shown up in this place has been someone Kevin knows before. And now they're not showing up as party members. But so the rules don't apply the same necessarily to boss fights that are real people. But Agate just goes, they're part of the Ravens, a gang that used to hang over in Rouen, but they recently passed the exam to become junior bracers. And Estelle pops up, they actually became bracers? Cool.
Oh, that's sweet.
Isn't it?
If I had known they were coming, I definitely would have brought them because that's such a cute payoff.
Yeah, I went out of my way to like plan out who to bring for everything. I kind of exhausted myself with the number of like court setups I was doing because I kept changing my party to try and get conversations to report to you, the listener. So...
Yeah, you know what? I was doing the same, switching party members back and forth and swapping quartz. And man, I can't wait for an improved quartz equipping program where I can take it off of another person to assign it to someone. And also a menu that has both slot opening, shopping, and equipping orbments.
Please.
Because the number of times I would be going through doing the orb setups and it's like, oh, you can have the ruby gem, which needs a level 3 slot. So I have to exit out of the orbit menu and go into the monument and upgrade the thing and then exit out of that and go back into the orbit setup. It's really laborious, and I'm sure it's something that they only detected at this point when we have so many party members that we can swap back and forth so freely. I feel like the system is improved in Zero and Azure.
Yeah, I think it is.
Maybe not perfect, but it's definitely a lot better.
I remember it being better. Yeah.
And they don't even have the party size that we have here.
Oh, I do want to point out that our Raven boys here tell us that they're just copies, right, of the real version. They're just imitations who are only here to fight us, and then they'll disappear after that, which is like existential horror.
Yes, they're really chill with it.
They're self-aware-ish.
They do identify, we're self-aware. We came into being. They kind of have an idea of who they are, but they don't seem to have the full memories. They just have the stuff they need to be put in a fight. And so we're like, oh, so we have to fight you to get past? And like, yeah, that's kind of what it is. It's like, could we just not? And like, no. We
are forced to fight even if we don't want to, which we'll see later. You're forced to fight even if you really don't want to. You're self-aware, you like remember stuff, but you don't know how you're here, and you know that you're not the real version of yourself, but you're also self-aware and you know that you will vanish from existence in like T-5 minutes. Like, that's horrifying.
So it's kind of a blessing that they are like blissfully chill with this. That seems to be part of being a copy, because they are just like a more rudimentary version of Cubina, basically.
Maybe they're not self-aware. I hope they're not self-aware entirely, because that would be disturbing. I wonder, they do mention, I don't know if we'll remember this, so maybe the memories go back to the real versions, actually. I can't remember.
Yeah, we do get it from a couple of these simulacra folks that are like, I don't know if this information will feed back to my original self. I hope so.
Yeah.
But you get into a boss fight with these three. They're easy. Like, they're not that challenging because they're 3 guys with a stick.
3 guys with a stick, as we know, they all have identical powers and identical abilities and all that. We know very well from last chapter.
I do like that they each have a slightly different description, though. I'll just quickly call those out. Like, all of them say that they're a young Brisa with the Ruin Guild and that they are scary when cornered, but they each have a little separate fact about themselves. So Dean says that he's the one who keeps the trio together. Rocco's says he wants to beat Agate, and Raish says he's easygoing. So we've got the chill one, the extra one, and the maintainer.
Like, we saw all of those things happen, those dynamics happening in the starter, which is really fun.
Yeah.
When you defeat them, I got a little more cute dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they're like, I guess we're really not ready to be a bracer yet. And Agate says, remember what I said after your exam? You've got the strength, but how far you can go after this is just a matter of experience. Make sure you put as much into your bracer work as you did in that battle.
Oh.
Rocco's like, you just can't resist the chance to act as our teacher, can you?
Which makes sense, because he's the one who'd be the most angry about it, because Rocco's the one who wants to beat Agate.
When they disappear, Chloe's like, oh, they just vanished. And Agate's like, they hung around just long enough to say their piece, then off they go.
Oh, I will also shout out, this is the battle where I finally used Tita's Orbital Gear move. God damn! What the fuck? She was already a heavy hitter, and she went from doing like 2 to 3k damage to 5.5 with a regular attack.
Right?
She's stronger than any of my heavy hitters.
She's crazy.
I had misremembered. I thought that equipping the Orbital Gear was like 100 or 200 CP to like really like blast you out, but it's 20. You can just use it all the time.
You can just use it exclusively. The only downside is you can't S-craft in the Orbital Gear. You have to get out in one turn. But since you have S-breaks, like, you can get out of it and immediately S-break.
True, yeah. Also, you barely need S-crafts because these attacks are stronger than her S-crafts.
The only advantage to it would be the fact that if you're trying to get like a Shining Palm or something, you have 100% accuracy on the S-craft and not on other things. But that's kind of it. But yeah, we're back to the Ravens do mention that the next guy waiting for us is scarier.
Everyone says this, like, oh, the next guy's worse.
Mm-hmm.
So we continue up to the old schoolhouse. I did not expect who this boss was going to be.
I changed my party for this.
Oh, really?
I wish I made it Julia, but I didn't. I got Richard and Ren, because I remembered Ren saying something like, that guy with his eyes closed is way stronger than he looks, or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to see if she'd say anything. And then Alan Richard I put in, because he obviously would know this guy.
Okay, did you get any reactions from any of them?
I got a little dialogue. Nothing crazy, but I got a little bit. But first, did we say who it is yet?
No, we didn't. We walk into the old schoolhouse, and standing at the top of the stairs waiting to fight us is none other than the guy you're all expecting, Butler Philip.
He's got some time off from raising Duke Junon, I guess.
He knows that he's a clone simulacrum thing as well. For me, I had a little bit of flavor dialogue because he's like, "It is the ultimate shame of my life that I am forced to raise my hand against you, Princess Claudia."
Oh, I think we all get that because she's a mandatory party member for this section, right?
Oh, to enter the area, of course, yeah.
I don't know if you can come back without her once you've entered. I didn't try it.
Good question. Maybe not while it's an active, like the active dungeon, but I definitely returned afterwards for the Star Door we're going to do with a different party.
Okay.
But, like, the story was wrapped up at that point, so it might have, like, released any locks.
Could be. If you know, listener, if you know how it works, let us know.
Philip identifies himself. We get a cool title alert for Philip, which I don't think we got his title when he had his fight at the end of SC.
I don't think so.
His name is Philip Runal, the Sword Fox, and former captain of the Royal Guard.
I like if they almost call him the Silver Fox, but don't quite make that his cool title alert.
I think that's what they're going for. He's like the Sword Daddy.
But yeah, Richard says, I was aware of your history from my time in the Intelligence Division, but like I never thought we'd have the chance to cross blades, or I want to see how I match up with you, something like that.
Yeah.
Philip's like, I'm looking forward to seeing the skills inherited from the Divine Blade firsthand, and Ren kind of giggles and goes, it's been a while since we last saw each other. She's like, the way you fought last time was very impressive, which was a reminder that she and the other Ouroboros enforcers were fighting him when they were attacking the capital.
That's right.
And she says, she's mad because he was mostly fighting Bluebell and Luciola at that time and kind of ignored her, so she wants to make up for it.
And he is a pretty sick fighter.
He is tough.
I think these, like, mini-bosses as we go through aren't super tough. They're mostly just, like, high HP. They don't necessarily have amazing sort of skill stacks. But the tough part about Philip is his S-craft.
Yeah.
Esmeralda Hearts.
It's really cool.
Which, it's one of the sickest looking S-crafts we've seen so far.
It's so cool.
I laughed because he's like, "Oh, Claudia, I'm so sorry that I have to fight you." And then he exclusively attacked her for the entire fight.
That's amazing.
Which is so weird. Esmeralda's Hearts, he does like a bunch of slashes, then he like boots her up into the air.
Yeah.
Encases her in a giant Esmeralda crystal, and then shatters it with like a laser beam or something. And it's sick as hell.
He did it to Ren with me, which I liked because Ren had just asked him to fight her properly and give her a good show. So I like to imagine that Ren was just like giggling the whole time. She was like, "Yeah, this is what I wanted." It is on normal difficulty. This was the hardest fight I've had so far at this point.
He definitely hit hard, but I feel like he's a bit slow, or maybe I just like kidded my party to be really fast.
He had high defense. He was pretty quick, at least on normal. And his minions take a lot longer to take down than they should have.
Yeah, they're chunky.
They're sturdier than you think, and they cast like Ragnar Vortex if you don't impede them. So you're kind of running around trying to impede them all the time. And the Philip's running around. Even an S-craft is not getting that much from his health. Like, it's a little chunk. It took me a while.
I got a lot of use out of, what's it called? It's a quartz. It's like a space move that initially we only had a one-person target, but now I have an EX version which sucks them all into one location.
Oh, yeah. Is that Dark Matter?
Dark Matter EX, yes.
Yeah, that was great.
Really handy. Because these boys are also chunky, I was just kind of keeping them clumped together so I could hit them with as many multi-target attacks as possible.
Yeah.
So Dark Matter EX, goated move, because Dark Matter regular targets a single person and doesn't move them. I don't know that there's really any other spells that do like a condensing rather than just like scattering folks.
I don't think so. There's crafts. Analyze is a craft that does it. I don't know if there's another spell that has suction.
Very handy though. For all of these upcoming boss fights, because they typically had like a couple of minions.
With the exception of the ones that are somehow able to also always cancel your spells before you cast them and are too fast.
Fuck those guys.
But then we beat him.
He sort of fades away and gives us another hint like the next guy is going to be even worse.
And Kevin says he's one hell of a tough butler, which I remember at the time this was localized is in like 2015. This is a little after I think the anime and manga Black Butler had gotten popular. And what I know about that, because I saw a few episodes, the tagline of the butler in it is, "I'm one hell of a butler." So I do think that might be a reference.
Nice. So after you finish this fight, you can actually finish exploring the old schoolhouse.
Yes.
Because there is some more chests and stuff, and a moon door, the moon door that we're going to be doing.
The last one.
The descriptor for it is, happiness comes in many forms and can be interpreted in many ways. Present to me a form of happiness you have obtained, only then shall the door open. Extremely unclear what this one is.
The thing I think is you have it by this point no matter what. The quartz is called, I think, luck, the luck quartz.
Oh, my guide said it was the Fortune Quartz, but maybe that's just like a translation thing.
I think it's translated differently sometimes. Like, I think it's, because I think it's luck, but usually in most games it's fortune. So I think they just call it that.
Yes. Actually, you know what? You might be right, because right next to this door is actually a chess message I was going to sing out, which is a did you know?
Yes.
Did you know Ein's name was originally translated as Anne in the novel Carnelia, but this name dropped the meaning of her name, which is one in German. That's why it is respectfully back to Ein now. Maybe this is just like another translation correction, like Ein Anne and Fortune Luck.
I think in SC, the same quartz was there, but called Fortune, so I guess the guide used the same terms like that they had there or something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which I think you have if you've just gotten chests.
You would have picked one up, yeah, I've got one, I think.
I don't think they're expecting you to have to figure this out, but we're not doing it quite yet.
Yeah.
There's another fun chess message in here, in the schoolhouse. The words Ren, R-E-N-N-E, Rend, R-E-N-D, and End, E-N-D, combine to make what exactly? Be sure to keep this hint in mind. It's Renade, Ren's S-Craft.
Which is not really how combining words works, Mr. Chest.
It's not.
Does she have her S-Craft when she joins the party? I assume she must.
Yes. So we could now either do Star Door or do a lap around the Hermit's Garden first. Do you have a preference, or?
I didn't really do a lap around the garden, but if there's anything interesting to sing out, I would be happy to hear it.
Let me see. Right. Joshua just comments that the 4 elemental stone monuments were originally intended to grant safe passage to the capital and to protect it. And it's been uprooted, but it's cool little background lore. And Estelle's surprised that Philip and the Ravens were the ones there. And the first time you can go around the Hermit's Garden in this chapter, Agate and Jin are hanging out together, and Agate's like, hey, Jin was just saying this place would be great for training. I'd love training as him.
Oh, yeah.
Now if you go up there, up on a platform fighting.
Oh, okay.
They're training, which is quite fun.
I saw that little chat where he's like, Jin says this would be great for fighting. Jin, fight me. Fight me, fight me, fight me, fight me, fight me, fight me.
Well, they're training now. Down in the library, Cher has busted out a bottle of wine, of like orange wine, I guess. I don't know why orange wine. Because Joshua and Estelle had the party and they were scolding her, why are you drinking? And she's like, well, it doesn't really matter, or something like that. Like, she was like, who cares? Like, we're fine. It's all fake here. This whole world is fake, so who cares? Chloe has figured out that the way the books work is if you think about the book you want, it'll end up closer to you.
Oh, okay.
But she says it's really hard to do. She's only managed to do it a few times. Olivier and Mueller are hanging out, and Olivier apparently wants to hit on Chloe, and Mueller says, you really are a few gears short of a functioning battle orbment.
Cute.
Olivier tries to ask Julia out, and Julia is stammering like, I don't know if that would be appropriate. And Mueller just shouts, leave the idiot to me. And if you put Olivier in your party, then instead Mueller tells him, just because we're not in the world doesn't mean your actions can't cause international problems. What else is there? Richard is impressed that Philip is skilled, and Annalise is over there too. Oh, here's what's good. Reese is there reading a book, and if you go talk to her, she looks startled, starts blushing, and then very seriously goes, the testaments exist to bring peace to the hearts of Aetios' children. I'll read them to you. So I think we caught her reading smut. And then she's denying it.
I thought she was like hiding a copy of From Fat to Fit inside of her Bible.
That would be a lot more embarrassing than just having some smut.
I mean, she does eat a lot of food. I'm sure like her figure is on her mind on some level, like several ranks below the urgency of eating.
Alas. But yeah, that's all I had for the garden on that go round. So do we want to do a little Star Door?
Yes, let's circle back to Star Door 9. Give me $50,000. And I was surprised when I started this door. I thought it was just like, have $50,000. And it's like, nope, I'm taking that. Thank you.
You gotta give it.
Which left me with like $1,000. But when we step through the door, we find ourselves in Bowes, where Mayor Mabel is just leaving the church after service.
Apparently, Lila, or Leela as they call her in the remake, basically made her go to take a break. And the sister, named Rosa, is like, you should come and pray more often. And Mabel's like, yeah, no, I don't have time. But, Leela keeps making me.
Don't tell her I said that. I have to go to the market next.
She's surprised Lila hasn't met up with her yet. Usually Lila would be waiting for her outside church. So she shouts this out.
Instead, as she goes to leave, she spots Lila down the street, talking to a pleasant man.
Yes.
About something. They are discussing the big day. Mabel, spying from a distance, overhears their conversation where they're talking about like plans for the big day and like making sure everything's ready. It's all very cordial and friendly. And she's like, Oh, shit. That sounds like wedding talk to me.
I don't even know if she could hear it from where she is or just seeing Lila speaking to a man in a manner that seems very familiar and is freaking the fuck out.
I do like, she's like, I didn't know that Lila was in a romance. Mm-hmm. She's never expressed any interest in that. She might seem cold towards people on the outside, but she's a wonderful human being. And a rather attractive one, too.
Yeah. And then she's like, well, it wouldn't be for me to get in the way of her happiness, which you can interpret, as we will, that she's in love with Lila but doesn't want to, which, you know, this kind of goes against the thought that they've already been banging all this time, but maybe she thinks that they're just banging platonically.
Much like Reese's reading list, Mabel's in it for the yearning.
Exactly. She's like, well, I feel lonely at the thought, but, you know, I want to give her my support. And she's standing behind, like, a pillar, watching all this, and, like, the pillars of, like, the gates into the church. And as she's staring at this pillar, like, thinking, Lila walks up behind her and is like, can I ask what the hell you're doing?
What is up with you?
We've cut to the next day, where Mabel is meeting with Annalise.
She's over at the Beau's Guild branch, and apparently is trying to set up a job with Annalise, which is basically, I want you to stalk my employee and invade her personal life.
Yeah. It's like hiring a PI to see if, like, my spouse is having an affair. Is kind of what's happening here.
Annalise is asking all the requisite questions as a guild person to make sure this is a legit job. She's like, okay, do you believe that this man may be endangering Lila, or she's under threat of some kind?
Like, because we'll do a background check on someone we have plausible thought might be up to something, but is that what this is? Because I'm not sure that's what this is. We're not about invasion of privacy of random civilians. That's not our thing.
And she's like, oh, no, he seemed nice enough. I just want to make sure for Lila's sake that he's a good guy and he's worthy of her.
Annalise seems super at first, her response is really reasonable and mature and professional. She's like, look, obviously there's always a possibility that somebody is, lying about who they are or not showing their true colors, but you can't just assume that about everyone. Chances are he is what he seems. We can't just invade his privacy. Annalise is like, but let me just check. You're not trying to break them up? Or you just want to know if they're dating? Are you okay with them dating? Are you trying to break them up? And Mabel tells a story that, like, oh, Lila lost her parents during the 100 Days War, and she's always been kind of alone except for me, and this is her first romance or whatever, and I just want to, I don't care if he's noble or rich, I just want to make sure he's going to treat her well, and this totally convinces Annalise.
She's like, oh, absolutely, I'll take the job. And Mabel's like, but wait, didn't you just say that this is against the rules? And Annalise is like, oh, no worries. The code is totally up to individual interpretation, so I've got plenty of wiggle room. It's like, oh, okay, great.
Great, Annalise. So I guess she was like, we can't just do this to try and break them up, but if you're doing it because you're into it and you have a sob story, then I'll do it. I love Annalise. I love that she's got this really mature, responsible, professional response, and then, just kidding.
Forget that. I'll do it. So we get a couple of little vignette scenes of Annalise collecting testimony around town.
I love how they're presented as testimony 1, testimony 2, testimony 3. It's kind of like a chance to check in on the NPCs from Beau's, because we've seen a lot of them over the games.
Yeah, it does feel with those like title screens that we should be getting like a Law and Order style dun dun.
Yeah, or like Ace Attorney almost.
So first up was Platina at the inn. She saw Lila and this pleasant man eating and talking together in what seemed like good spirits.
Yep.
She's convinced that it's a romance.
Because Lila never smiles, and she smiled at this man.
Second testimony were a couple of kids, Mina and Harry.
I love these kids. They're so funny.
They know absolutely nothing of use, but they did see the two of them walking to the mansion together, like the mayor's mansion.
Yeah.
And then they have their own side conversation about, oh, he didn't go in with her, which is weird. And the girl says, no, it's weird that you come in when you bring me home. He's like, what? Oh, you're an idiot. It's fine. You can keep doing it. I'm not that mad about it. He's like, okay, then I will. I'll keep doing it. Oh, these two are going to fall in love.
Well, the whole deal with all of their conversations that we've seen, like when you can check in on them, is that she's clearly like, we're going to get married someday, but she wants to be like a grown up and have like him to act like a grown up, like interest in her. And he's just a kid who wants to be a kid. And so she's always being really annoyed that he's just like a dumb little boy who's like, I want to play with my best friend instead of like treat me like a lady. But it's cute.
They didn't see much of value. And then the final testimony is from Medina and Trino.
Yes.
Who are the old couple in one of the houses.
Trino, I think, was one of the ones who was on the airship that was captured, that we rescued in FC.
Right, okay, yeah. He's a bit of a goofball. He keeps, like, cracking jokes and, like, misdirecting Annalise, which is very unhelpful when you're doing an investigation.
Yeah, well, he's clearly the type who always wants to have a great story, so is like, oh, they're the most in-love lovebirds I've ever seen, and his wife's like, don't listen to a word he says. He wants to say that because that's a better story, because that's more fun.
But he does have one piece of useful information, which is that he knows the identity of the gentleman. His name is Leonard, or Leonard, maybe?
Yep.
From the Kingfisher Inn.
Yeah, and so Annalise has gotten a few pieces of information. A few days later, she reports to Maybell, so I assume the rest of the testimonies were even less useful than the two kids.
Yep.
Oh, and I think Trino says, like, he's a reliable business partner. Like, he's he's honest.
He says he's done business with him. And Annalise recognizes him, too. She knows this dude from the Kingfisher Inn, so he's like, oh, yeah, he's a nice guy.
Yeah, she's like, I know him a bit. And then Maybell also knows him when she tells him. I guess she didn't recognize... She knows him by name. I don't think she's met him, like, because she didn't recognize his face.
Yeah. She knows he's from the Kingfisher Inn, but I don't think she's ever been to the Kingfisher Inn herself.
Yeah.
She just knows, because she's so obviously involved in the Beau's markets, that she'd know who's doing business in her city.
And they start talking about, Annalise is like, they'll be a perfect married couple. And Mabel's like, I know that that's where romance leads, but it's just so fast. Like, it's very dramatic. And Annalise is like, and he has a lovely little sister that's going to be like Lila's, like, sister-in-law, like, whatever. Like, it's all a whole thing. She's made a fine choice. And then Lila, the woman in question, shows up.
She steps in. She's invited in by Maybell. Is surprised to see Annalise there. And says, oh, no, it's fine. I was just wrapping up a report on an investigation for the mayor. Don't worry about it. Lila's like, an investigation? Because it seems like she would generally be apprised of everything going on in Maybell's life.
Certainly something big enough to involve the Bracers Guild. She's like, I have something I'd like to speak with you about. Has to do with the Kingfisher Inn. And Mabel's like, I already know.
Yes, I know everything.
I had Annalise look into it, and Lila's like, I see. She's like, I should have been more open from the start.
Yeah, so we dance around it for a while, and she's like, oh, okay, yeah, so do you want me to go ahead?
Is this date good? You do have a funny bit, right, where Maybell is like, is Leonard being good to you? And Lila's like, he's a nice man. Why are you asking? And Lila's like, all right, I'd like to get right to discussing the date. And Maybell freaks out.
Yeah, it's like, let's talk about the big day.
And Annalise goes, already?
We finally reach the point of realization, which is like, oh, I think there's been a misunderstanding.
Yeah, Maybell has a whole breakdown where she's like, do I mean that little to you that you would not tell me about this man until you were already engaged to be married to him and picking a date? And why would you? And Lila's like,
no, incorrect.
This is a vacation for you that I've been making arrangements for. Leonard and I have been talking because we're planning to send you on vacation at the Kingfisher Inn.
You're overdue for a vacation, you work too hard, and you've said before that you'd really like to go to the Kingfisher someday, so I'm making it happen for you. Followed by, besides, I have no intention of getting married before a certain mistress of mine.
Yeah.
Right now, the most important thing in my life is your happiness. I will put that over anything and everything else.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then she just scolds Maybell more for the fact that she's always overworked. And, well, I know you're not getting married anytime soon because all you do is rebuff all these romantic advances because you're a workaholic and you're not interested in anything else. And this is why you need to go on vacation.
Yeah, and Mabel's just like, but I am busy. It's really busy being the mayor.
Yeah.
I do love Lila's line, until you've decided upon a partner to supplement your happiness, I have absolutely no intention of looking at anyone but you.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, date me or I'll never leave.
Oh, and then as she leaves, and Annalise and Maybell have a few more lines of dialogue before Annalise goes, you two look great together, and runs away. So Annalise clearly took that conversation to mean that these two are actually dating.
Yeah, I accidentally skipped too fast on a line. Do you have screenshots of these lines that Annalise has? Because I got the you two look great together, but I didn't get the line before it.
Oh, I gotta admit, though, I am jealous. Never mind. You never heard that. Anyway, I'm sure I'll see you around. You two look great together.
Oh, so this is just a coming out and bringing out,
yes.
I suppose. You know what? It's true. Annalise has never expressed any romantic interests or, attractions before.
Though there was that time when she was talking to Estelle about being her rival, and it really gets lit up to be a confession of love.
Yeah.
And Estelle's like, I'm flustered. I don't know what to say. And Annalise then says rival. But I think we are given hints of Annalise, I think, maybe being gay. That does get kind of hinted at a few times.
Yeah.
Then we get the end of the story with the title of the story is Like a Mother, which I'm like, why the fuck are we calling this Like a Mother? Like, we know it's...
Let's not
do that. That was very clearly, like, hinting at them being gay. And then we're gonna go, Like a Mother. Like, no. But then we got a great thing. The door is like, investing is so great. You get things back. Here's 100,000 Mira.
Yeah, we get a double on our investment, which is great.
It is nice, is that after you had to bite the bullet of giving away 50,000.
Yeah, because it really was set up so you could collect $50,000 immediately before finding this door. So it would make sense if it was throwaway money, but it's not. Which came in very handy because I was finally able to buy new shoes for all of my party members.
Yes.
Because fuck that $12,000 armor. Not doing that.
But now I think we can go back to some dungeon crawling.
Yes, but before we do, what would you rate Star Door 9, Like a Mother?
I'm trying to think if it's a 4 or 4.5, because, like, it didn't overstay its welcome. It was nice and short, but I think I'm going to give it a 4 because I'm going to dock it for the title, for trying to, like, no homo it.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was a good door. Definitely felt a lot more concise after having just watched Return to the Empire before it.
Yeah.
I would say a 4 because it has some payoff, but then they really misdirect at the end, which is incorrect.
Annoying.
They better rename this door for the remakes. That's a 4 for me as well, so an average 4 out of 5 for Star Door 9, Like a Mother.
Very nice. And then it's time for the Amberl Monument.
Yes, which we saw light up with text after we finished beating the hell out of Philip. When you get there, the caption...
It was the sword-wielding dame among your number is who we need.
Yeah, bring us the sword broad.
And here lies the looking glass. So it's Alice in Wonderland time.
The Lord of Phantasma does decree, here lies the looking glass.
And I like that our characters point out that there's like a bunch of ladies who wield swords around. They kind of decided it sounds like Annalise. And which is fitting. She is the woman of the hour. We did just have that door with her.
Yeah. So who did you bring along at this point?
So at this point, I have Estelle and Ren in the party, along with Annalise and Kevin.
Okay.
Because I thought they might have some dialogue. And then I meant to change the party one more time than I did, and I didn't. So, but then I changed it for like every boss, except for one, because I forgot. Okay.
I brought Shara and Agate along at this point. Just cycling through some of the less used folks, because I figure...
Level everyone.
If I'm getting that much of a boost on level ups, then it's time to, bring everyone into alignment around the 125 mark. We enter the Amberl Monument door. Annalise puts her sword broad hand on the stone and we get sucked in to find ourselves, kind of, at the Lakeside Laboratory.
Yeah.
The Ouroboros base on the lakefront.
Which is why I brought Ren and Estelle, because they had both been here.
Makes sense, yeah.
Alongside Kevin, who obviously was going to be there. And Estelle does just confirm that she remembers it, and so does Annalise, because Annalise got, mind controlled here.
Okay.
And Ren's dialogue, just in parentheses, she goes, well.
Yeah, so this dungeon, the big change is they realize that the whole place is flipped, basically. The secret entrance that they use to enter is on the right rather than left. They enter on the right and find stuff that's from the other side of the building. So, shock and awe, it's through the looking glass. What is a looking glass? It's a mirror.
It is. I do get a little fun dialogue because I have Estelle and Ren here, where Estelle is like, this door's on the wrong side. And Ren goes in parentheses, thought so. So she's figured it out immediately.
Yeah, for me, Shara was like, wait, wasn't this on the other side last time when we were here? And Kevin's like, I think I know what's going on. Because of course he does. But we go inside, and for the most part, this is a keycard dungeon.
Yep. We get ambushed by archaisms, and Ren points out that she's never seen that kind of archaism before, which is just like a fun note.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they were just like, oh, here they come. Get ready. It's time to fight machines again. But yeah, working through the dungeon, we find a bunch of color-coded doors that you need keycards for, so there's a lot of doubling back.
Oh, and I also want to point out that when Estelle and Annalise figure out, they're like, oh, this is flipped. Ren goes, you silly thing. Did you really only just figure that out? I love anytime Ren is just ribbing on Estelle.
Yeah.
She's like, Estelle, you silly thing. I realized it the second I got a look from the building outside. And Estelle goes, did it not occur to you to share that information with us? Or do you just enjoy watching us stumble around in the dark? And Ren goes, oh, I'm sure you know the answer to that.
I just like being a know-it-all.
She's such a little brat. I love her.
Yeah, remember how you didn't want to spend time together at all like 20 minutes ago, Ren?
Yeah.
Like, pick a lane. I don't think we really need to go through this dungeon in depth, other than sort of signaling the boss fights.
Not really. We've been through it before.
On the first floor, we work our way around to the boss fight, which ends up being Young Man. Young Man there's no need to be down, young man, your name is Grant.
Yes.
So the thing with these fights is, just like with Philip, he's got 2 minions who are designed to sort of like echo his skill set. So each of these bosses has like a type of like knight guy who has the same weapon as them, basically.
This was so bad for me.
Really?
I don't know why. Like, this was the hardest of all of them.
This was the easiest for me, and the reason is it's the first time that I used Agate's new S-Craft. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like the first new one he's gotten in a while.
I mean, the thing is, I had Ren, who literally has no physical attack, but has crazy arts, but they are just canceling arts, so I really wanted to use arts, and they just canceled. They were too fast.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even bother.
I mean, I for some reason, I'm weird about S-Crafting, because I always assume that, like, I shouldn't use it now, so I always hold off a bit. At least in the Sky games. In later games, I S-Craft a lot more.
Yeah.
And then also, I was just having trouble with enemy placements. Like, they kept going a little out of my reach. It was annoying.
Yeah, that was part of why I was using Agate's new S-Craft Dragon Dive, because it's an all attack, not an area attack.
Yes, it's awesome.
Also, very funny because it uses so many of his sound bites to do that attack.
Oh, that's really funny.
He's like, dragon! It sounds like he's saying dragon before he jumps up, but I think it's just a yell. And then at the top he's like, let's do it! Da! Dragon Dive.
I love that.
So it was the majority of the sound effects that I used for that stupid gag last episode.
That's great. That gag was great. Don't call it stupid. That was awesome.
Thank you. But yeah, he fully wiped the party because I'd used that when I'd taken a bit of health off of everyone, and he just decimated all 3 of them in one go. It was very impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, once we beat Grant, he fades away like everyone else of these like pseudo clones has done.
He says some nice things about how Annalise has grown.
But yeah, we get the red key, first of all, as well as a backwards message, which I did save.
I did too. I wrote it out in the other way in my notes.
Oh, I'm going to read it live backwards because that's a skill that I have. I can read backward text.
Oh, go ahead. Let's see what you get.
Investigate one of the 6 gates that manipulate the flow of the Iron River. Then shall you obtain Radiance. Basically, each time we beat one of these little bosses, we're going to get like a repository of Sepith hiding somewhere in the level.
Now, you can get it before.
Yeah. All 3 times I found it accidentally before even seeing the message, because they aren't treasure chests. They're hidden in like weird spots.
Yeah.
But they still have an exclamation mark come up next to them when you walk past, even without reading this message first. So this one points back to the conveyor belt room that was the first room we entered in the building. You go up to one of the consoles and it gives you 1,000 of every Sepith type. Which
is great. But yes, reading backwards is a skill we have on this show.
I just wish the text was a bit bigger because they've also mangled the text a little bit to make it, I guess, less storage or whatever.
Yeah, no, it's very small. I wrote it down so that I wouldn't have to refer to the screenshots.
I like doing it live.
It's fun.
After Grant, we go up to the 2nd floor. You can get some other chests along the way. We make our way to the 2nd boss fight, which is Kana. And interestingly, when you're in the fight, I noticed that her description refers to her as a part of Kurt's team.
Oh.
I didn't realize that Kurt was like the leader of the squad.
They do refer to him as like the most experienced, I guess, of that like group. So I guess that kind of makes sense. Because she's usually operating out of Ruan, and Kurt's not Ruan based. He's usually based out of Grand Cell.
Yeah, I thought it was fun because it's like, I'd never really thought about it, but it seems like other bracers who operate in groups have like a designated leader in the same way our party does.
Yeah.
Like Estelle is the head bracer of our party.
Yeah.
And so it turns out that Kurt is the same for them, it seems like. But yeah, just like Grant, she has 2 minions that sort of mirror her skill set, and you have to beat her. Was this one a tough one, or did Kana go down easy?
All of the boss fights in this chapter are like a step up from anything in SC, but like they're still fine. But this was better than Grant's for me.
I found for a lot of them I was able to do a majority of damage with an S-Craft or 2, and I was just kind of doing that and then not bothering to recharge before the next fight. So I was just whittling down my S-Crafts one by one.
Yeah.
Once we beat up Kana, we get the next key, the green key. You can open some more doors along the way.
And did you want to do the text?
Oh, yes, the text, sorry. The computer this time gives us a message that says, inspect the open glass coffin, then you shall obtain radiance.
Yeah.
That's the, like, sleeping tubes that are in one of the rooms. I remember them from last game.
Suspended animation, like, pods or whatever they look like.
It was where they were, like, gassing the grunts into turning into super soldiers, right?
But it looks like it's sort of like a cryo sleep thing, is what it looks like.
Yeah. when we beat Kana, she also mentions, oh, the next guy is going to be the toughest of all.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of guesses we've had Grant and Kana, and it's a he, so it's probably Kurt.
Yeah.
Because Annalise is the fourth member, and she's right here.
Yeah, and Estella's like, she's cute about, she's like stammering a little, like, we can't turn back now, which reminds me of her and Annalise fighting Kurt in their training together, which is cute. We also find a new star door along the way after this, which the girl who plays with the giant doll, inside a trial awaits her. So it sounds like we need a Ren, and there's going to be a battle in here. We're not doing it yet, though.
Yep, we're saving that one for another episode.
There was also a fun chest message around here I liked.
Oh, yep.
I rested shot a long time ago. You must be really working out. So this is because Ponk was strong this morning.
It's true. I was so strong. Did I spot any good chests? I did like one that was a bit of a read. It is said that ignorance is bliss. Tell me, is that true?
That's cute, yeah. I also swapped my party at this point. I popped in Jin and Olivia here. Oh, because I wanted Jin for what was next.
Oh, okay. I didn't swap anyone out during this dungeon, I don't think. We eventually make our way to our third boss fight on floor 3, which is Kurt, as expected. He summons a couple of spear minions so they can all be long-distance attackers, just like him.
He also says that since he first became conscious of his existence here, he keeps attempting to meditate and he's not able to, which makes him understand the nature of his being. And Anna's like, of course the first thing you tried to do was meditate.
Yeah, he's like, I tried to meditate, but it didn't work. I guess I don't have a sense of self.
So I guess they're not sentient after all.
Yeah, they've been dropping a bunch of unhelpful AI chatbots into the dungeon for us.
Exactly. But we battle them, and it goes well. He hints that whoever's coming next is the scariest of all.
Yes. The final boss is going to be the most terrifying. Anyway, I'm going to vanish into light. Goodbye.
Her martial arts skills are incredible, he points out. So we know it's she.
We also get a final hidden Sepith cache message, which says, investigate what boldly shines its artificial lights to embolden the night sky. Then you shall find radiance.
And there's a big light outside on a balcony.
And this one actually felt like a payoff to me because I remember going out to this rooftop area with the spotlight last game.
Yeah.
And feeling like, this is a wasted area. There should be something here.
And there was.
And I tried clicking on the stupid spotlight, and it turns out I was just a game early.
Yeah, you're just a game early. I went back and got the chests that I could now access with this card, and there's one chest I really enjoyed. I thought was really fun. Congratulations, by opening me, you missed out on the best weapon in the game. I love that. That's
a cruel chest message, yeah.
That is so true of like old JRPGs. There's so many of that kind of thing.
Yeah, I remember Final Fantasy IX had a treasure chest where you'd have to speed run to get to it in time. If you opened it in a short enough time, it would be Excalibur, and if you were too late, it would be Excalibur.
Oh my god.
Which did no damage. And it was like the kind of speedrun where you'd have to do things like pop open the lid of your PS1 during an FMV so it would skip it, and that would cut down your playtime.
Oh my god, that's wild.
The dark old days. The chest message I highlighted is actually from the same room, but one of the other chests from that room, which is just, what do a shirtless guy and what you're looking at now have in common? A bare chest.
I mean, it's dumb and funny. I like it. We like puns around here.
It's good stuff.
We also have access to another star door here that just says there's a trial you have to overcome. So
yeah. So we'll save that one as well. We head up to the roof. First of all, we head up to the top floor where the endgame room was for this dungeon originally. What was on that, like, dais thing?
It's like a throne, but like it's almost like a hologram of a throne is what it looks like to me.
Yeah, was there like an important person or object sitting on that in SC? I can't recall.
I think someone was sitting on it.
Yeah, okay.
Because this is where we fought Joshua the doll.
Yes. But yeah, everyone's kind of like stumped. It's like, I expected there to be a fight in this room. And they're like, oh, well, there's still the roof where airships can land, so let's go check there as well before we leave. So we make our way up the rooftop stairs and find on the rooftop a boss fight waiting behind a red door.
Yeah.
As this is our end point for the chapter. And who should be waiting on the roof for us but Kilika Ruran?
Yes.
Talented bracer receptionist and badass.
I was glad. This is why I put Jin in my party.
Oh, smart.
Yeah.
I still had Shara and Agate. I didn't actually move them out at all during this section.
That's fair, honestly. They know her, so still sure you got something.
So Kilika's pulls out a weapon type we haven't seen before, Chakrams, which is very cool. We love a unique weapon.
Oh, I got a little dialogue before she pulls out her weapon with Jin, where Jin's like, oh, I hit the nail on the head this time. And Kilika just goes, well, leaving aside that oaf over there, I hope the rest of you have been doing well since I left. And Jin gets offended. He goes, damn, that was harsh. I have a name, you know. And Killick goes, well, I see you all the time in Calvert as it is. It hasn't been that long since we last hung out. Like, stop being such a crybaby. Which I just thought was cute and means that they have been hanging out since returning to Calvert, which is good to have confirmation of after that Star Door.
Very sweet, yeah. I think the only line she had for me was like, I hope you've all been behaving since I left.
Yeah. And Jin also says that he remembers that last time they fought a few years ago, she was stronger than even Walter.
Oh, okay.
I'm surprised that didn't come up last game, given that you were all hanging out, like, in the same space.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be worth a mention. But yeah, this fight, unfortunately, was cut very short by Agat's Dragon Dive again, because I'd saved up enough to use it at 200 CP again by this point. He just drops like a bomb and really, like, ruins everyone's day. It was quite impressive. Like, the tag team of Annalise, Agat's S-Craft, and Tita's mech is really like a decimating combination, so I might have to use that in the next section.
That's a plan.
We wrap up the Killiker fight. She was the second Guardian as well, we should highlight. It was Philip and then Killiker.
Yep.
Which, one of those characters is a lot more important to the story than the other.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Guardian jobs are there for everybody.
Yep. So
we've taken down our second Guardian. I also appreciated that when they start this interaction, Killiker's like, Kevin, you're smart. I don't actually have to explain what's going on here, do I? Mm-hmm. He's like, no, you're a Guardian. We've got to beat you to move on, and you're not the real Killiker. She's like, sweet, let's do it.
So we beat her. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. As she's fading out, though, I have Olivier in my party, and he goes, perhaps it was for the best that I never seriously tried to woo her.
Yeah, buddy. You would have been ruined. But once we've wiped the floor with fake Killiker, the next section of the dungeon does open, the Carnelia Monument, the red one.
Yeah.
But we're saving that for next episode.
But we have a little more to do here tonight.
Yes, before we call it quits for the day, we have one more Moon Door to cover, Moon Door 5.
The last one.
The one that demanded the luck quartz.
Yep.
Oh yeah!
It was almost time for Matron Teresa's birthday.
The gist of the story is that the kids at the orphanage want to come up with a really great birthday present for the matron to thank her for all they do to take care of them.
And the story is very focused on Mary, the little girl with the green hair, who, like, everyone's trying to, but she's kind of clearly, like, the most responsible one here, to the point that it's almost a little sad that, like, she's so little, but she's so, like, well, I have to take care of these chores, and I have to look out for the other kids, and little Polly's gonna wander off, so I have to watch after her, and I have to make sure the boys are okay. Like, even Matron Teresa clearly is like, you need to let yourself be a kid more.
She says she has to do it because she's the oldest, but it can't be by very much.
No, like a year max.
Yeah, like Polly is notably younger, but she's the only one that's like notably a different age to the others.
Yeah, I think Daniel is the next oldest, so he's like the second youngest, it seems to me. So I guess and then Clem and Mary, but I don't think she's much older.
Yeah.
I mean, at that age, like a year is a big difference when you're really little, but still, like.
True, yeah. She's definitely more well-spoken than the other kids. Like, when she's
Yes.
talking to Matron Teresa, she uses a lot of big words that you wouldn't expect from a young kid. So, yeah, kind of a weird mishmash. She kind of lives a life as the house manager.
Yeah, she's very precocious. She's adorable, though.
Takes on a lot of responsibility. Also one of the more grounded of the children.
Yeah. But Clem was sent off to town in order to get decorations for the party, and instead he hears a story from O'Neill, the general store owner who's known to tell tall tales about something called the Happiness Stone, which you find only in high mountains, and it gives you like perfect happiness if you find it.
Only in high, misty mountains, specifically.
Yes.
It glows with a golden radiance, and it makes you happier in your life to have it. But they're very rare.
And Mary thinks this sounds very dreamy.
He also links it into, like, the theological history.
Right.
Because he says these happiness stones are actually, like, when the goddess was making the world, like, they were, like, little droplets of her creation powers that fell to the earth and sort of calcified into these happiness stones. So making it religious makes it more true to Clem, I think.
Yeah. So he tells this story. Mary thinks it sounds really dreamy, but Clem is like, we're gonna go find this happiness stone now. The Crow Mountains are nearby. They're the only high mountains, so we'll go there. Daniel, you come with me. And Mary's like, Mr. O'Neill makes up stories, Clem. You know this, right? And he's just not listening, and he runs off.
Yeah, because he claimed that he'd found one of these happiness stones. Like, oh yeah, I was traveling in... I can't remember where he says he is.
It says a ravine somewhere.
He's somewhere else. He found one in his youth. And it's like, my guy, if you have a happiness stone that makes your life good, Why do you run a newsagent next to the airport?
Well, you don't have it anymore is the implication, but okay.
Yeah, what happened?
Clem says he's going to go find it for a birthday, and that'll be the birthday present for Major Teresa.
Mm-hmm.
What's really kind of cute and heartbreaking is that throughout this chapter, Mary really wants to believe in this happiness stone. And she's a kid who's like, she's so grounded and she's so responsible that she's like, obviously it's not real, but she can't quite get over the romance of this idea. It's like this little kid inside of her that keeps bubbling to the top and she keeps trying to push it down.
Yeah, it's kind of cute because you see this progression over the course of this door where she starts off like, oh yeah, O'Neill tells tall tales.
Yeah.
It's not true. That's ridiculous. I mean, it'd be nice if it was real.
It'd be really nice.
It'd be really nice if it was real. Do you think it's real?
It's so cute, yeah.
I would like it if it was real. It's probably real.
Yeah, it's good.
In any case, once the boys rush off to the Crone Mountains against everyone else's better wishes, Mary and Polly are sort of trying to come up with like, well, when that doesn't work out, what are we going to actually get her for her birthday? So first idea is let's go down to the shore and collect some shells. Maybe we can make her a shell necklace.
We get control of them, we go down to the beach, and we do actually get to go and like pick up little spots that have shells, and Mary, there's something wrong with all of them.
Some are cracked, some are like, she finds one good one that's like, oh, I don't like the color though.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually you're sort of roaming around and she can't find anything. She's like, well, this idea is no good if I can't even find any shells.
She turns around at one point and she's like, Polly, do you think maybe the happiness stone could be real? And Polly just goes, happiness is all around us.
Very cute, Polly.
When Polly says this, though, something shows up in one of the boats, like abandoned boats that are just on shore.
They look at it and investigate it. It turns out to be a gold chain, like a necklace chain. And Mary's like, oh, cool. This is nice, but maybe not good for the present. Polly, you keep it. You've just stolen someone's stuff out of their boat. That's a working boat. There's like a fishing drying rack hanging next to it. It's got a working oar in it. It's entirely working condition. You've just stolen from someone.
Are you sure it's a working condition? Because the boats do look like they've sunk all the way under the sand.
I thought that was just perspective. Like they just kind of like moored. Because, you know, tide coming in and out would sink him down a little bit over time.
Yeah.
But that is not a defunct boat. Someone just dropped their necklace while they were out fishing and you've stolen it. And it's a gold chain. It's not worth nothing.
You know, maybe it just appeared out of nowhere because Polly said something wise. Maybe it was just gifted into them.
Probably, yeah. It was definitely that.
Let's go with that rather than these child thieves.
After this, up on the road above them, they see Lucia, the little girl who lives in Minoria. They're walking from Rouen back to Minoria. It's her and Grant.
Yeah. I love this little touch that Mary knows she has met Grant and can't remember his name. And she's constantly thinking to herself, I really need to remember this guy's name. I've met him before.
Yeah.
She's a really engaging little kid character whose head to be in, right?
Yeah, it's nice to see like the inner thoughts as well to kind of pad her personality out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So they're heading back to Minoria because the bazaar is about to start up.
Mm-hmm.
They're having like a little market thing. The girls decide that they will follow along and check out the bazaar. Maybe they'll be able to find a gift there.
Yeah.
But before I headed off, there is a treasure chest in the corner of the beach. And I was like, ooh, initially it looked like it was blocked off, like the boats had been positioned to block walking over to it. But you can actually go over and open it up as Mary.
Yeah.
And they're both like, oh, wow, that's a treasure chest. Do you want to open it up? And they have to work together to open it because the lid's too heavy for one little girl. And when they crack it open, the chest is empty. And they both scream, no!
Much to their dismay. It's great. And I love the idea that, because I think there was a chest here in one of the previous games, so Estelle has ransacked this chest already and left these kids to be bitterly disappointed.
Poor things.
But so we make it to Minoria. The bazaar is in the little shed that Kevin once did Sunday school in and read Twilight to the kids in.
Mm-hmm.
And Mary just goes and is looking at stuff, and behind her back, she does not notice at all that Clem and Daniel come in, do some talking. Polly sees all this, and Mary just does not notice this at all. She's too busy looking at this other stall. And she thinks to herself, this seems like the kind of place you might find a happiness stone.
Mm-hmm.
And she asks about it, and the guy's like, I have no idea, what? But then as she's leaving, goes, you know, I have heard a funny story about the Crone Mountains. Apparently something weird happens if you're walking on them at the exact right time. And it kind of sounds like it might be him trying to give her a consolation prize because she seemed so sad when he didn't know anything. Because it's such a vague story, right? Like, there's really nothing to it.
The rocks flash gold, and he sort of trails off, and that makes you happy. Is that what you mean?
She's like, no, that's good. That's exciting. Like, she's just so eager for anything to make her believe that this is real.
She's convincing herself bit by bit, yeah. So they step outside. It's like, all right, well, how about we go check it out while we're here? And Polly sort of updates, like, the boys came and they left and they're going to the Crone Mountains. And she said, what? Yeah, you've been spacing out a lot lately, so you didn't notice.
Are you okay?
And then she's like, oh, they're not meant to go up there. We're not meant to go into the mountains. It's too far away from the orphanage. And Polly's like, you just said you want to go up into the mountains. Well, but that's for a birthday present, so it's different.
Which is why the boys are going too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Besides, we have to find them to bring them home, so we're not really breaking the rules. We're going to get them back. And she says, let's go, sit close to me, Polly, and does that thing where the character goes close to another character and, like, almost latches them together.
Drags her along, yeah. I did do a quick whip around of the village before I headed off.
Oh, okay.
There's not really much of note. All of the adults in the stores and the inn and stuff greet the girls. They're obviously familiar with them. They're like, oh, it's nice to see you visited. Such, like, good-natured, polite young ladies.
Mm-hmm.
If you talk to Lucia and Grant in front of the, like, bulletin board for the village, though, Mary just sort of stares at Grant, like, dotting for a minute. And he's like, can I help you? And then she's like, oh, that's it. I finally remembered your name. It's Black.
Oh, no.
And he's like, it's Grant. It's Grant. Please remember it next time.
I didn't get that. I got her later remembering his name.
Oh, he brings it up later. It's just the first of several, like, dunks on Grant.
Yeah.
In this memory door.
It's funny.
But yeah, after that, there was nobody in the house on the way out of town where that lazy dude lived. So I headed out. Although once I went out onto the road that leads up to the Crone Trail, I did divert to the lighthouse because I could.
Oh, okay. Did you see Vote?
Yes.
Oh, tell me. I didn't think to do that.
Yeah, because I was just like pushing limits. Because initially when I came into the village, I tried running out the other side and it let me. So I was like, oh, shit. Didn't know that I was about to go there for the story anyway. So I looped around to the lighthouse. And when you get there, the girls ask him about the happiness stone. Mm-hmm. They're just like, hey, this lighthouse is really tall and has a big light on it. Have you ever seen happiness stones? And he's like, I don't know what that is. No, I haven't seen that. He was just like grumbling as they walk in. And then they're like, oh, okay, thank you. We're going to go looking for the happiness stone. Goodbye. And they go to leave. Right before they leave, though, Polly turns around and says, I hope your back feels better.
Aw.
And then leaves.
That's cute.
He's just like, kids, too smart for their own good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all he has to contribute. But yeah, I just love that you could go off and see him. And he's like very nice to the girls in the way that he wasn't to Estelle and Joshua.
I'm glad that he's nicer to kids.
He's very kind. He's like, oh, I don't know what that is. He doesn't say sorry or anything. He's just like, he doesn't shout at them.
So go back onto the main path, and Mary's talking to Polly, and she's like, so what do you think a happy stone would be like? And blah, blah, blah. And, wouldn't be. And she's talking to herself, not even noticing Polly, and she just keeps walking. And Polly, as little kids will sometimes do, just stops walking along, and Mary does not notice at all.
Yeah. She ends up like doubling back and then doubling back again, trying to find Polly when she realizes she's like getting more and more panicked, thinking that she's lost a kid.
This is the scariest moon door so far because of that. Losing a kid and not being able to find them no matter where you look, like, that's terrifying. That's an adult fear.
Yeah.
And then there's all these cliffs, right? Like, a kid could have fallen off a cliff. Like, it's a scary, ooh.
When they show Polly, like, getting distracted, she, like, turns to look up onto the embankment above the road as though she's spotted something. So the implication is she's, like, wandered off the road into the bushes.
Yeah.
And, like, they've been lucky that there haven't been monsters on any of the roads so far.
There always were when we were on these roads.
Yeah, but, like, in her panic, like, Mary's, like, running back and forth. She, like, doubles back towards Minoria and then heads back in the other direction.
Misses Polly walking behind her.
Fully misses it until she ends up at the entrance to Crone Trail.
She's lost too.
Just, like, beyond where she's ever been before, but she's still looking for Polly, so she keeps going deeper and deeper into the trail. Until eventually she, in her panic, trips and falls.
Yeah.
Then, like, a bunch of mist rises out of nowhere.
And she's in so much distress here and just, like, sobbing, falling down, and all this mist rises. And all of a sudden a voice comes from outside and goes, "Blah, it's mad chilly this time of year, huh?" And she hides behind a tree, and this weird-ass fucking dragon walks on.
Yeah, this little, like, fuzzy, pot-bellied dragon that's, like, I don't know, a head taller than most human beings.
You want to know a fun fact about this dragon?
I do.
in the code for the game, it's called Chibi Ragnard.
Okay, yeah.
Which some people have wondered if that means it's young Ragnard, somehow.
I have a different theory that I'm going to present at the end of this door.
I'm excited. I want to hear yours.
This talking monster identifies itself as a dragon,
Yeah.
but is very chill.
He hides from Mary when he sees her. He also hides behind the tree.
And mentions that he's been hiding out from the scary stuff that's been going on. And references the Glorious and the Aureole.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, did you hear about that? And Mary, a child, says,
No.
I don't know what that is. But the dragon is also a kid.
Yeah.
He's only 320 years old.
He's a baby. Mary shares her sandwich with him. And, they're the best of friends now. And we get this montage of them, playing tag and playing hide and seek and playing, Simon Red Light, Green Light and, whatever games. Mm-hmm. It's very cute. And then we get to a point where it's clearly the sun is starting to set. It's gotten darker out. And he's getting cold, which he seems to get cold a lot. I'm surprised dragons aren't warmer with all that fire, but...
Yeah, out of any lizard, you'd think they'd be the hot-blooded ones.
Right? But no, Mary's like, well, I can gather firewood, so we can have a fire and stuff if you're cold. So you then have to control her and go around to, every tree and, get firewood, which isn't exactly clear where to go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's especially tricky because 4 out of 5 of the ones you have to collect are trees. You just walk up to the tree and click on it, and then you get a branch. Then one is a flower bed.
Yeah.
One of many flower beds, and not one that's, especially highlighted or anything.
And then as you're going to another section, the dragon's like, I'm sick of waiting for you. I'm going to come with you. They hug.
Yep.
And Mary's like, this smells really familiar. The smell when hugging the dragon. Mm-hmm. I went to save at this point, by the way. And if you say, you know how it always says your location when you save?
Yeah.
This one says Illusion World.
Okay, I didn't know that, but I am glad to hear it. So they get the fire together, and you get this very cute sprite of Mary sleeping against the dragon's side.
Yeah, the dragon remembers he can breathe fire at this point once she's collected all the firewood.
Yeah, she gets all the sticks and then is like, oh wait, how do we start a fire with no fire? And he's like, I got it. And blasts a flamethrower out of his mouth, including a vented fire that comes out of exit points on the side of his head.
Yeah, it's well done.
It reminds me of how they did the red dragon in the Critical Role Vox Machina series.
Oh, cool.
He had fire vents going up his throat that would jet out as it got ready to shoot fire. So I love that kind of stuff.
That's fun. I do like this little chat where the dragon is like, anyone could breathe fire if they practice for 320 years like me. And Mary's like, I'm not going to live that long. But yeah, she's sleeping on the dragon. And she, again, is like, I know the smell from somewhere.
Yes, she's mentioned this twice now. She's like a familiar scent coming off of the dragon. But yeah, after they fall asleep, we cut to Mary waking up alone next to the extinguished campfire. Still in the mist.
Which fades quickly, though.
And then as she's starting to make her way back home, she's crossing one of the wooden rope bridges, falls off the side. They have this very cute animation where she's walking across it and kind of shivering a few times because it's a big scary rope bridge high up in the air. She falls off the side. A child is plummeting to her death.
Yep.
As she's falling down this bottomless pit, she's apologizing to the matron.
It's so sad.
And just when we think this is going to be the worst door that we've had to do, a golden light flies into screen and resolves itself into the dragon, who scoops her up midair and flies away.
Yeah.
At which point Mary says, "You can fly?"
And then it's so cute the way she looks on its back flying because her pigtails are up in the air.
Yeah, I love the little sprites there, because she's got these ringlet pigtail things. All these custom sprites just for this one little side character.
It's so good. She goes, can you only fly if you're little? First, I can't remember the context of this. The dragon's like, no, you can fly if you're big. It just causes problems. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting because obviously we saw Ragnar flying in the previous game.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just, in the same way they talk about you couldn't make a giant ant because the body would crush itself.
Yeah.
There's that thing about flying creatures where the bigger the creature is, exponentially larger the wings have to be.
Yeah.
Which is why dragons, as they're typically depicted, couldn't exist in reality because the weight to wing weight ratio would have to be insane.
Maybe Ragnar has back problems from his big wings.
He just gets a sore back every time he flies.
As he's flying off, he speeds up, they kind of fly into the horizon, and a text box says, voice, today sure was fun. And it doesn't say which voice it is. It's coming from one of the two. And then it fades to black, and voice then says, hey, are you okay? And then we wake up on the, what's it called?
Minoria Byroad?
Yeah, Minoria Byroad, right.
Closer to where she initially lost Polly, and it's Polly and Grant rescuing her. You've been missing, but not for long enough for it to have gone overnight and had a fire. It's just later that afternoon, maybe. They wake her up. We've been searching for you. Like, all of the kids have been searching for you. We were so worried. And it's kind of Mary playing out the worst situation that she's always trying to plan around for the other kids.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, they do dumb stuff and we have to save them. She seems a little embarrassed.
Clem is also very sweetly very distressed because he promised Chloe and Joshua that he'd protect everyone, and he thought he was going to break his promise because something happened to her.
Interesting. But in the end, she realizes that there's something in her pocket.
Yeah.
I think there's like a glint you see or something. And she reaches in and pulls out a glowing golden stone.
Yeah, so for me at this point, she spaces out for a second, and Grant goes, "Are you okay? You feeling dizzy or something?" And she's like, "I was just spacing out. A lot's happened," and thinks to herself, "His name's Grant, isn't it?"
Oh, she gets it right for you.
Yeah, Grant. That's right. So yeah, I like that she still thinks it, even if she doesn't have that conversation with him. Like, they deal with it differently.
Yeah, I got a different version of that conversation. I can't remember the exact wording, but it culminates in Polly referring to Grant as the most boring man alive.
Oh yes, I got that. That's a little later for me. But basically after that, Grant's like, "Yeah, you look exhausted. You all do. Like, we should all go back home." And then she gets the happiness stone. Like, this is a little before, out of order.
And then through a combination of lucky coincidences, they're able to combine Polly's gold chain, Mary's happiness stone that she's just found apparently, and a locket that the boys bought when they visited the bazaar before heading off again.
Yeah.
They're able to combine them together into a necklace for the matron.
And then Daniel had a little box that they could put it in. So I like that everybody had a little something that they were able to contribute to putting the present together. And then we get this really pretty art of the birthday party with everyone, and Grant is at the birthday party.
Yeah, he's come along. It's all the kids and the matron with their little gift. They've got a lovely cake.
Tea.
I also love the touch that the decorations in the background are the classic sort of make rings out of colored paper and loop them together, like chain thing that everyone does in their kid birthdays.
And I like that there's a little tray of like tea sandwiches that looked like the ones that Mary had with her that she fed to the dragon.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and the little girl Lucia's there, too.
They were able to have a lovely birthday for the matron in the end. And Mary again says, like, there's that smell again. I swear I recognize it. Her resolution is like, that must be the smell of the warmth of happiness.
Which isn't a smell, but it's a sweet sentiment nonetheless.
Yes.
I think the implication might be that it's the smell of Matron Teresa that she associates with feeling happy and safe.
Yes, and I have something to say on that.
I want to hear your theory. I want to hear.
Would you like to hear? My theory is that the entire episode with the dragon, Baby Ragnar possibly, was actually an illusion created by Luciola.
Oh.
Because I think that Mary could be Luciola's lost daughter.
Oh.
They have the same eye color. They have the same hair color.
Interesting.
The dragon was her playing a role with her illusions to interact with this girl that maybe she realized was her kid, maybe not. The familiar smell is because you would remember the smell of your mother.
Oh, wow.
Even if you're an orphan child. And when she said this was fun, it was like, oh, I got to spend time with my kid without all of the responsibility and repercussions of that. So she took on the form of the dragon to protect this kid, brought her back to the road where she could be found, and then left.
That's wild. That's fun.
And the reason that Luciola and the matron smell the same are because they are motherly figures.
That's fun. I have no idea, but that's fun. I like that. That's wild.
Because even, like, the dragon's green and red as well, obviously, because it's made to look like Ragnar. But the color scheme could work. She could whip something up. The mist always rises when Luciola uses her illusion abilities. And it's called the Illusion World, as you mentioned.
Yeah. No, my the theory has always been, I guess, that like the common theories, because there's a few.
Okay.
One was that somehow like there's some sort of time travel element, and so this is a young Ragnar from back like whatever, and that maybe the scary things recently he was referring to were like scary things happening back during the Dark Ages. But I like yours better. That's more fun. That it's Luciola. Whether or not it's her daughter. I mean, I like the daughter version, but I think also like the illusion world, that is a Luciola term, and I didn't actually think about that.
Yeah, it's just because, like, he specifically mentions the Glorious and the Oriole. So if he just mentioned the Oriole, I could see it as, like, that could be a time displacement thing, because the Oriole was still a problem a long time ago. But the Glorious is a more recent thing, and it's something that Luciola would be familiar with.
It is.
So that was kind of, like, the culmination of my reasoning.
And we know that after she left the circus, she wandered around for a bit and traveled before, like, on her own before she joined Ouroboros. So she could have had a kid somewhere, I guess. That's fun. That's a fun little theory. I like that.
Yeah, I didn't even think about the time placement of it. It could be that it was like a while ago, but it could also be recent, and Luciola survived her like death drop last game and has just been traveling around in secret.
I love calling it a death drop. Because she would. That's excellent. What are we rating this, by the way?
Ooh. Overall, it was a cute story. From Moondor, short. That was appreciated.
Yes.
I think I'm going to give it a 4.5 because it may not be canon, but I liked it more because of the connections I made.
I like 4.5. I think I'm going to do the same, actually.
But yeah, that was our final Moondor, Moondor 5, and our final memory door of the episode. And our final section of the episode. We're done.
Oh, wait, one more thing I wanted to say about the door.
Oh.
Kondo once said in an interview, he made a cryptic comment that this door might be important to the lore, but in the kind of way where you don't know if that's bullshit he's saying to troll the fans or if it's meaning. But anyway, so people have thought about this a lot. Anyway, that's the episode.
Yes, what are we doing next time?
Well, next time we're playing to the end of Chapter 6, so I don't have to come up with a cryptic way to try and explain what boss we're stopping after. And we're doing some Star Doors. We are doing Star Doors 10, 11, 12. And I would like to comment, you will need to do the Star Doors before ending the chapter.
I think we can safely say as a preventative measure that there is a lockout on doing memory doors next chapter, so you do need to do it before you hit the final story beats of Chapter 6. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait a bit to be able to get back to it.
Yeah, you will eventually, but don't plan on starting Chapter 7 and going right to the Star Doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing.
Cool. Fantastic. Well, before we call it quits for the day, we have one last order of business.
We do.
That is the TWG Community Chest. The box that has the names of all of our fellow podcasts on the Worst Garbage Network. And we love to sing one of our friends out every week.
We do.
So that you can have something else to listen to in between our episodes. So this week, coming out of the Community Chest, we have Memory Card Manuscript.
Memory Card Manuscript by Stephen Hilger. Great time. Stephen's a gem, and I love what he's doing over our Memory Card Manuscript. I really like the way he's been doing videos, like, with a topic about games that touch on how different games incorporate this kind of gameplay design element. He's been doing some of those lately, and that'll be really fun. He did one on permadeath, with Fire Emblem as kind of the main exhibit, but talking about it in various different games, and I found that really fun.
That is the most recent. Also, just as a nice little custom touch, Screamin' Stevie loves to put custom illustrations that he draws for each video.
Yes, and they're great.
As the preview image, so you get a nice bit of personalized art to enjoy every time as well. So go check out Memory Card Manuscript on YouTube to see all of that wonderful content.
And that's going to be it for us in the show. If you want to find us anywhere else, you can check us out at TrailsPod on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Twitter, which we will not call the other name. You can also send us an email at trailsthroughtrails@gmail.com. And you can find the rest of the shows on our network and us at theworstgarbage.online. Come say hi. Feel free to reach out to us if you have the answer to any of the random questions that we ask you during the course of these episodes, because we like to hear. And you can come hang out in the Discord, where we're always hopping.
Please come join the Discord and tell me how super right or completely stupid and fucking wrong I am about my theories on that last door.
I would love to hear other people's thoughts on this door theory, because I've never heard that one before. Like, nothing close to that I've ever heard. It's great.
Which is crazy, because it felt so obvious to me in the moment. I thought it was just like the known theory, but it's cool. I'm smart. I'm smart and strong.
I think so many people are trying to tie the happiness stone to the Oriole. I've seen so many people trying to say it's the Oriole because it's the glowing like thing when it falls down. Like, I think people are so busy trying to find the big lore of how the happiness stone works or what it is or what it comes from or who the dragon is, that kind of thing, that I think people maybe are not thinking about the mist and the illusion.
Yeah, possibly.
But I love that.
Come tell us what you think.
Yeah. But I've been Lex.
And I've been Matt.
And in the words of our good friend Kevin,
It's over!
TWG, the worst garbage, online.